All right, everybody, welcome out to the Log Room Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, February the 4th, 2025. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
Oh, yeah. I got the message. It's unmuted, so I can speak now.
You can speak now, yes.
I'm not
or forever hold your peace. That's up to you.
Oh, God. I was at a wedding once where the priest said that.
Mm-hmm. And you just went,
No. Lightning struck the church.
Oh, there you go. Right.
The priest never skipped a beat. He went, anybody else?
There you go.
It was perfect.
That was perfect timing.
Right in there, man. It was amazing.
Anybody else? That's great. Oh.
I'm sorry. This is my.
I mean, that's a movie. I mean, that's how good that was. That's.
Oh yeah, he nailed that one, and it was one of my friend Tom's from high school. Because we know so many Toms. How many Toms do we know?
Too many. Yeah, I think we know more Toms than we do Johns, and that's weird. Yeah.
We might know Toms than Johns, yeah. But I talked to him afterwards, like, dude, I would have run. He goes, crossed my mind. Because someone has spoken.
Someone has indeed spoken, that's for sure.
Woof.
Yeah. So,
at any rate.
how are you on this fine evening?
On this fine evening. Fine.
You're fine.
Oh no, hair is fine. No,
hair is fine.
That's a George Carlin bit.
I have a marker that's fine.
Do you? Yeah, I've actually got a fine Sharpie.
There you go.
Yeah, I use it for geocaching. So
there you go. I got a few things that are pretty fine. Oh, I'm sorry.
Careful.
I know.
Occasionally she watches.
In any event, yeah, I'm thirsty tonight. And I'm also a little hungry, but we'll get more to that in a minute. But first, we got a couple of days to.
We do have some days to celebrate. What the heck did we agree on today? I don't agree.
Well, I'll just put it up.
I've got to read the calendar. Yeah.
Happy National Quacker Day.
And you know what? I told you about that. I told you what quackers were, and I've got a bunch of them sitting back here. And you think I would have been ready and prepared for the show, but these are quackers. Things like this.
Quackers, yeah.
This was from a hotel in Boston. They gave those out, and. This is a zombie duck.
Right. So, I got the last time I was at a hotel was in Pittsburgh, and I didn't take it out of packaging. They were having an Oscar Mayer convention. They didn't have a quacker, but they did have an Oscar Mayer hot dog whistle.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, so I got that going for me.
Which is nice. See, when I was in I was in Pittsburgh, I did get a quacker. You can hear them opening the packaging.
Yes, I can.
And because if you go and you get a sandwich, Bronte Brothers give you
a quacker.
Yeah,
yep.
They give you the quacker. So
they give you the quacker. There you go. So happy National Quacker Day.
Yeah, so
for those who celebrate. Yep. It is also Zombie Pride Day.
Yes, which is here we go. We got a zombie quacker.
A zombie quacker.
He was a businessman.
Don't think of anything.
He was a businessman, but now he's turned into a zombie.
Gotcha.
So
he was a businessman that sat at the bar and slowly got stoned. Was he sharing a drink they call loneliness?
Just plenty of some.
Well, it's better than drinking alone.
Hey, I'm not still in the Navy, by the way.
All right, Davey.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, and then the most important one, which will segue us into the show, is Happy National Thank a Mailman Day today.
And I want to thank my mailman, well, actually my FedEx guy, but same diff, right?
Same diff.
For bringing me this. I've got this box.
I got mine here too.
Yeah, and when you open the box, you get this little card. I'll get to that card.
The card right there.
There's chocolates in here. And look how beautifully this is all packaged. Right? And this is from BE Chocolat.
Now, it was packaged like that for you, but mine was wrapped in tissue paper. See?
Oh well, I someone might like you better, but that person might be the person in this picture with his wife.
Person might be the picture and person in the picture with his wife right there.
This is BE Chocolat. This is you get this here, and they do, as you can see. That's
in case you could do it. Here, I'll show the back of it. There you go.
There we go. You see the wine tasting there.
Oh yeah.
We should probably do something like that because they're probably they're pairing wine and chocolate.
I think we should do a beer and chocolate pairing show.
I think we should do that. I think we should do that right.
I think we should do that right now. So please welcome to the show, Mr. Benoit Racquet from BE Chocolate, the owner and master chocolatier. How are you, Benoit?
Great to be with you guys. Doing great, and I cannot wait for this to happen.
Oh, you cannot.
Oh, we've been anticipating it for quite some time now.
Was it Racquet or Racquet?
Racquet.
Racquet.
Benoit Racquet. I should have known. I'm not pronouncing the T in Benoit.
It's exactly like chocolat and
Chocolat.
like Benoit.
Chocolat.
You know, all three have a T at the end, and none of the T's are said. So yeah, same.
So Benoit Racquet from Atelier BE Chocolat.
Perfect.
There you go.
All right.
What's funny was when it comes to
I had to summon my 11th grade French just for a second.
There you go. You see, it comes back.
Well, you forgot the one thing with French. If it ends in a vowel, you rarely ever pronounce that.
No, it's the vowel. Yeah, exactly.
It's a hint.
Right. Exactly.
You know, it's kind of like the flavoring in like La Croix.
Right. And I didn't have to summon that for Benoit because one of my favorite jazz pianists is David Benoit. And
there you go.
There you go.
And a few people know the movie Chocolat. So that's actually our best ally to make sure.
Right. And unfortunately, and I will say this, unfortunately, I do remember a number of people back then saying, "I'm going to see Chocolate."
Then, yeah, the road to happiness is paved with good intentions.
With good intentions, exactly. So, how are you on this fine evening, sir?
So great. We just wrapped up a little chocolate making class, and we're actually in our store. So I intended to do the podcast from the back. And then when I walked it, there were like 17 kids just doing little lollipops and everything. So I was like, I cannot drink beer in the middle of that. So which is kind of rebalanced. So you're actually in the front part of the store where we have a few things that are ready for Valentine's. And there is a lot more. This is actually where everything is made. So we only produce in one location.
Which is where?
Which is in Fairfield, Connecticut.
Yep.
So we're handcrafting small batches of chocolate in Fairfield, Connecticut. I graduated in Belgium, but everything we do here is exactly the same way as if you would walk into a store in Belgium. First of all, I come from the same country, but the chocolate is the same, the tools are the same, the freshness is the same. So you really get here a little bit of a travel to Belgium minus the airfare when you push the door open.
Very nice.
Well, I'm going to get my taste because in August I am traveling.
You are going to Belgium, yes. You
exactly.
Are. I can't wait for that.
I have a few addresses for you.
You need to get me those.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's great. We just got a comment from Brian Boak. He said, "Just got the beer home in a few to join. Chocolate arrived at 6."
So, just in time.
Just in time.
Excellent. So Mr. Boak will be joining us soon. Excellent.
That's excellent. Anybody else, let us know if you did get the chocolate and you got the beer and you'll be joining us at home. Let us know. So we'll keep in contact with you as we go along, sharing and pairing the chocolates. And there you go. They're chocolates right there.
These look so good. Now, the important thing is Benoit had said that they're prepared for Valentine's Day. So this is why we wanted to do this show on the 4th rather than the 11th. Because 11th would have only given everybody 3 days to get orders in for chocolate. Because when we're done with the show,
well, it would have given everybody to get 3 days to get orders in and delivered.
Right. So when we're done with the show, everyone's going to want to order.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this gives them time.
The real problem is everybody does order on the 10th anyways. So any head start we could give anyone, it's a good thing.
You know why, Benoit, right? Because it's
mostly man.
Because it's the men, yes.
Absolutely.
And we leave everything to the last.
And you know, I would say about 80% of the customers are women. When we look at the cashier at the end, what are the names on the credit card? However, when we get close to February 14th, you have a line of men in the store, and we're all like, the wives did a really good job. So it's definitely, it sounds cliche, but it's very accurate.
Yes, it is. Hey, there's a favorite phrase of mine is stereotypes exist for a reason.
Yes. Well, absolutely. Stereotypes do definitely exist for a reason. That's for sure. So I got mine. Here we go.
Got yours all open?
I got mine open, ready to go.
There we go. All set.
Yes. All right. So one thing which is super important is the way the pairing will work is don't eat your chocolate yet, right? Because
no.
There is no pairing. And they normally should have very different shape and colors. So we will make sure we have the right one with the right beer.
Of course, of course.
And for those of you at home, you're going to want to watch what he's doing, but also it does come with this guide, because I've ordered from them before and walk myself through which one were which by using this guide. So if you want to get ahead of the game and go through and try to identify what you have, so that when Benoit calls it out, you're all set and ready.
Absolutely.
And I will bring them closer to the camera as well, so that we will confirm. Yes, exactly.
Awesome. That sounds good to me. All right.
That sounds like he wants us to open the beer.
Sounds like he wants us to open the beer. Before we do, though.
Before we do.
Oh, no, let's open the beer first, and then before we get to the pairings, I'll ask the one question that I have to ask him. So.
Oh, yeah. Because the one thing is, you need to know, I was connected to Benoit by someone I worked with, Chris Stonk. And when he found out that I did a craft beer podcast, because I've got a friend who loves craft beer, just so happens he owns a chocolate store, a Belgian chocolate store. And that's when this light bulb came. I'm like, you know what we should do? That's why we're sitting here.
100%.
Yeah, he started talking about how much, and Chris loves beer too. But he told me that you really got into the American craft beer scene as well as Belgian beers.
Yes, correct. I actually have been brewing at home.
You're brewing at home. That's awesome.
Yes, there is a little device that is kind of self-contained and is brewing straight in the keg. But it's almost like an espresso machine, but with a lot more complexity. It's connected to the web, and then there is an arm that moves over the hops or over the grains and everything. I'm sure your audience knows about it, but it's fun because you really learn the detail without making your entire house full of steam. So it actually was a good process. I want to say one thing as we're pouring the Hoegaarden. You know that you always leave a little bit at the bottom.
You mean
right?
this?
Yeah, and then you just turn it. You just turn it like that, because the Hoegaarden is supposed to have all the hops that are natural, unlike the IPA where it's the fermentation that gives the haziness. But for the white, the hops are actually at the bottom, so they ship with it, and you want to keep them. And then you see, for the moment, my beer is quite clear. But you are supposed to make sure that all the hops go in the beer as well, and then you get that hazy color, which is not clear anymore. So that's and there was a lot of discussion in Belgium about should we ship the beers to US with the hops at the bottom, because the yeast. I'm sorry, I said the hops. I stand corrected. The yeast at the bottom, because it looks like, oh, it's old, something fell to the bottom. But the decision was we should stay true to what it is.
And I'm glad they did. And to build onto that, Hoegaarden, a lot of our viewers know this story, but this is an ancient recipe that was pretty much in the archives of the brewery. And Peter Sellis was brewing there.
And for those of you at a certain age, he said Sellis, not Sellers, not Peter Sellers.
No.
Not the
Pink Panther.
Not the Pink Panther.
And the Pink Panther was actually the gem, wasn't he? He wasn't the Pink Panther.
He was
Inspector Clouseau.
He was Inspector Clouseau, yeah.
But at any rate, so Peter Sellis finds this recipe and talks the brewery into letting him brew this. And the Belgian wit style was pretty much resurrected and has now become a global hit.
Sure.
There's great examples around the world. There's some really bad examples out there as well, but they tend to be popular. I'm not going to bash too much. But so if you couldn't find a Hoegaarden, if you got an Allagash White, you're doing okay. That's a damn good American replacement for
100%.
Totally.
Yeah. But Peter Sellis actually came over to the U.S. and he was brewing in Texas for a while under the name Sellis. So Sellis White was brewed in Texas for quite a while.
Yes, it was.
Wow.
It was.
Has he been associated with one of the major brands, or it was just like doing his own business for his friends?
He was national. I forget what it was. He wasn't associated with a major brand to begin with.
Okay.
And he had a smaller distribution. I don't know if He got bought out by somebody though, and I forget who bought him. Do you remember, John?
Yes, somebody bought him out.
And I forget who bought him out.
It was a distribution kind of a thing too. I almost like what AB does, but I forget who it was. I'm sitting here trying to remember it. And we have another comment on YouTube. Chris just said, "Ready for the tasting. So happy I put you two together." Put you together.
Do you use that picture for everything, Chris?
Apparently, Chris uses the picture.
It's a great picture, though. It is a fantastic picture.
Yeah. How many do you need when you have a good one?
When you got a good one like that. It's a good-looking guy to begin with. Then he gets this, puts it into AI to makes him look even better. That's just not fair.
I have a picture of me that I use on certain profiles that was taken 15 years ago. Me without a beard.
And you still don't look that good.
And yeah,
There you go.
Yeah, still use it. But yeah. So anyway, all right. So question to ask you before we start the pairing. It's the first question that we ask everybody. It's the only question we have to ask.
Before you ask the question, can we take a drink?
Yeah, how about it? I don't care.
No, it's just I'm asking Benoit. Can we
yes,
drink
I'm ready. I have like a muscle memory here.
Yeah. Okay. Chris is smiling. There you go.
Oh wow, it's been a while since I've had.
It's been a while since I've had Hoegaarden. Yep, absolutely. All right, no, just a quick question. We ask every guest the first time they come on. So obviously, there's no point in repeating the same question to somebody that's on a second or a third time. But to the best of your recollection, what was the first craft beer or crafty beer, if you will? And if it was over in Belgium, any beer at that point, right? What was the first, non-mass-produced light lager that you had?
Oh, that was this one.
Was it?
Hoegaarden.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Fair enough.
Like as a white lager, yes. No hesitation, because it's readily available in most tap beers that you go to after high school or middle school. When a teacher is sick and you just don't want to go home straight away, so you have like an hour there that you want to put to good use. So you just go have a beer before going home.
What is the drinking age in Belgium?
It's not really enforced, so I think officially it may be 16. I'm not exactly sure. Like we could Google that, but my sister was having a regular Pilsner at my grandparents when she was 6, and it would be like a normal Sunday lunch, and you don't really realize that there is a reason to have a limit. You just don't want to be drunk, so you kind of self-control a little bit because you grow with it. Like in primary school, there was on the table at the cafeteria, there was a 0% beer and there was a water, and the choice was beer or water. In primary school, when we were 6, 7, 8 years old, there was no Coca-Cola because it's sugar and you don't want that for kids. So we had a choice between, and so your choice was, do you want beer or do you want water? And it was like, well, I think I prefer water. And that's how early you were facing those decisions without really realizing, that alcohol is worse than sugar, for example. So there was no real, I think maybe it's a little bit changed now, but when I grew up, I don't remember someone saying that it was not legal to have one. Like I'd never heard.
Well, I could explain it to you right now. In Belgium, currently, the legal drinking age for beer and wine is 16.
Okay, you checked.
And it's 8, and for spirits, for distilled spirits, it's 18.
Okay.
But that was only as of. You want to take a guess as to what year?
5 years ago.
16 years ago, 2009.
Okay.
So before 2009, have at it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think even now, like if you're with your parents or, the problem when you've left the country a long time ago, you don't know it the way it is now. You remember it the way it was, right? So we compare America today with Belgium 15 years ago when I left. But I don't think it's really enforced. Like as long as you're in good company, and again, you can. I don't know for buying in supermarkets, and people will ask you your ID.
Same thing. It says for purchasing too, 16 or 18.
Yeah, but again, do people same with cigarettes or I don't know. People try to be street smart about it, I think, and so that was my first beer, my first white lager. Yeah,
and there you go.
That's
and
cool.
I had Chris just said yes, 16. He said so.
Yeah, he actually beat you to it. You just didn't see it.
I just didn't see it. My head was down and I was reading. So, all right. So we've talked about we've gotten our answer. Dave talked about the beer. Benoit.
So yeah, so the way we do pairing is, take like a very, I don't want to say deep, but take a good taste of the beer just to go through the flavor profile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So obviously, there is like this sweet lemon that comes forward, the bitterness
Sure.
from the hops. They also use a little bit of orange peel. I think when they make it, there is this
Bergamot.
Bergamot from the beer. So this is the flavor profile. There is also a little bit of lactose that you get, which is not from lactose from the beer, but more from the malolactic process of the beer. Mm-hmm. So that's the profile that I think I get from tasting it. So let's keep that in mind. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to pair it with the chocolate, which is the limoncello. So I'm going to show it. No, it's going to be the
which one?
The little
the hexagon.
Hexagon.
This
right.
One here.
So this is a milk chocolate, and we're using a Melletti limoncello to do the ganache.
Yep.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so have a bite of about half the chocolate, and I'm going to walk you through it.
All right.
So initially you have the limoncello, which is coming forward. Mm-hmm. And then slowly the chocolate will melt. And then you have a balance that happens between the acidity of the limoncello and the chocolate, up to a moment where you have a sort of a key lime pie moment where you have acidity and sweetness. It's going to hit you at a point. When that happens, keep some of the chocolate in your mouth and then have a second sip.
I swallowed it all already. I'm going to take a little nibble here.
So now the combination is completely changed. I am getting almost a mango as a sweetness because the two acidities are canceling each other. So you get the secondary fruits that are coming forward. I am also getting a sort of a toasted level. I don't know if you get that too. From the grain, like I think the grains are coming more forward from the beer. And then after the fact, there is almost like, when you have those lemon that are, what's the word? When you put them in a jar for a long time, like they're, being
preserved.
Exactly. So you have like a lemon preserve that comes as an aftertaste as well. A little bit almost like, when you have those pies that have the lemon and then some jelly on top and it's being, for a while in the oven, like you get that aftertaste. It's happening in the back of the mouth. And what's interesting is that those flavors are totally different from what actually constitute the original two products. So if you have another sip of the beer now, you're going to remember where we come from. And then you go back to the beer taste and everything, which was totally disappearing from the combination.
Yep.
Yeah, and I did get what you said about the grains. The wheat does make a showing once you drink it with the chocolate.
And there's definitely a little toast note happening there.
Yep.
I'm getting that, yeah.
And then once that's all gone, you drink it again, the bergamot, the yeast profiles, and that coriander.
Come back.
Take it all back over again. The coriander's still there in the sip after. I actually expected the coriander to stand out a little bit more after eating the chocolate, but it didn't.
So we can, if you have the other half, you can try again. Did you get that key lime pie moment?
Oh yeah.
I find it spectacular. Like there is a moment where you have that balance.
No, and there's that mango again.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how the chocolate and the limoncello filling change the flavor profile of the esters that are thrown by the yeast.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what it's doing, yeah.
Yeah, or it's bringing it forward. It might be back there the whole time,
supporting it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. The coriander is not coming forward.
It's not disappearing either. It's pretty steady.
It's not disappearing, but
Yep.
it stays where it was.
Yeah.
One other note of the ganache is that it's a very unsweetened limoncello that we're using. It's a traditional Italian limoncello. They use a lot of fruit, not a lot of sugar, and so you have something which is not sweet. When we drink this as a refreshment in Belgium, like you did some tennis, or you just went for a bike ride and you just wanted something fresh, we add a little bit of sweet lemon extract, like lemon extract and simple syrup in the beer, and it becomes like, a refreshment, but after an effort. I find it too sweet, and so I wanted something in that note, but not with the sweetness, and so chocolate is nicer, I think, because it's not a candy. And so you have, I think, a better balance from the combination too.
It's like a Belgian version of a Radler.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Quite literally.
Exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Literally.
So that was fantastic.
That was amazing. That's so.
That's our first pairing.
Oh, that was very good. I enjoyed that.
And also, thanks for picking Hoegaarden, because it's one of those beers that I've had, but I haven't had it in so long. And John knows that wit is not one of my favorite styles. But when you go back to the OG, you remember why you liked it in the first place. And it's just really some of the pale copies that we have in this country that have made me not like it so much, because it gets so coriander forward sometimes.
Yeah, they I mean,
drinkable.
just leave it to people over here to overdo a good thing.
That's what we like to do here.
I never heard that, but it makes me smile. But also the other aspect is I think there is a simplicity in the beer.
Absolutely.
But a complexity in how much it's balanced.
The complexity is so simplistic.
Yeah,
how's that?
That's exactly. And so
simple complexity.
And the chocolate,
or the simplicity is so complex.
And so the chocolate brings that too. Like sometimes overpowering something or not taking the time to actually go through the different layers of the flavor. You eat the chocolate too quick. Like one of the things we learned at school was you don't feed your customer with chocolate. You just delight them. And so one chocolate, you take the time. Like the flavors are still there. They're going to be with us for the next 3-5 minutes. You don't need to have another bite to have more taste. Like there is that aspect of the chocolate that I really like, which is the complexity is actually enjoyable when you take the time to reflect on it.
Sure.
And it's the same with the beer.
That's great. That's well put. That's perfect.
Yep.
On Dave's point too, as far as the beer goes, we've talked about this before on the show, especially after Anchor closed, before they reopened and got going again. You talk about the OGs, right? Reflect on where you came from, right? Because we all started out drinking. Those of us of a certain age, anyway, we all started out drinking something a long time ago that got us to where we are, right? Or was a stepping stone, or the base layer, if you will. And we've forgotten about it. What's next? What's new?
Or we take it for granted
that
it's always there. I can always have one.
Right, until it's gone. Right. Fortunately, with a beer like Hoegaarden, it's Belgium, for instance, they don't forget those beers. And
tradition. It's
tradition. There's tradition to it, right? And not only that, it's much more widely distributed than a certain amount of other beers too. So there's that as well, right? But yeah, take the time. You know what? I mean, it's been years since I had a Hoegaarden. You know what? Go get one. Seriously, just pick up a 6-pack of it and put it in the fridge. Have one. Week later, have another one. Maybe 2 if it's thirsty.
Happy you didn't find a single now, John?
Yes, I am.
So am I, actually.
I really wasn't looking for a single of that. If I happened to find one, I would have gotten it. But I probably would have gotten 2. But I grabbed the 6, and it's sitting in the fridge now. So.
But I have a little confession to make. So when I moved to US, actually, I got so many questions about the Belgian beers that I had to go back, relearn my basis. Like it's not because you're born in a country where you're exposed to all of them.
Sure.
And honestly, you probably know most of them anyway. that you're actually, an expert, or that you took the time to mentally classify them. You just go to the supermarket and you realize it's a long time you hadn't had one. So you just pick that, not necessarily because we prefer, but because they're all available anyway.
Right.
So that's the one you end up picking. And so what are your preferences? Well, you just open your fridge and what's there is your preference. So I had to elevate a little bit my approach to Belgian beer being here, because first of all, they are not all available. But second of all, there were a lot of really good questions about differences between this and that. And, I went to Belgium. I visited Rochefort. Have you ever been there? And then you don't remember if it was Chimay or Rochefort that you went with your parents like 20 years ago. So I really had to relearn my basis of Belgian beer knowledge when I came here, which was a really nice twist. I did not expect that there would be so much knowledge, and at the same time that there was so little on my end. Just because you're in the middle of it, it doesn't mean you know everything.
Right.
Yeah. Of course. Now, one point I want to bring up, and I want to ask you a question here, Benoit. Typically, if we knew we were doing something like this, and we had, this imperial stout as not the next beer, but the beer afterwards, at this point is when I would tell people, take the stout off the ice, let it warm up a little bit. For this tasting, do you recommend the same thing?
I agree. I do agree. Yes. That actually, I got them out of the fridge at the beginning of the show, just to make sure. Yes.
Yeah, just so, because especially with the stouts, when they're cold, the flavors get masked.
Right.
You need it to warm up, get it closer, not necessarily room temperature, but you want it. But you want it about 45 degrees for it to really open up in those flavors.
There is another aspect too, is when you do a tasting, any product that you taste, it's true with the whiskey, with wines, with beer. When it's colder, the flavor profile is actually tamed. And
it's muted. It's muted. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. And so when we do pair with chocolate needs heat as well to reveal flavors. Like, first of all, so there is like a lot of chemical reaction that happens in your mouth when you eat a chocolate. Your saliva is going to hit the salt. But you need the heat of your mouth to melt the chocolate. And so the sequence of flavor that I love to create is based on that. So we will have later a salted caramel. I add only the salt when the caramel is cooled down. So your saliva is busy dissolving the caramel first, and you only get the salt later. We will talk about that. But as a consequence, when you do the pairing, if your beer is too cold, you re-solidify everything, and so the pairing does not happen well.
Right.
So it's a little bit of chemistry here, but it's part of the fun that we want to explore.
Oh, so that's what we're doing here.
Exactly.
We are learning. And we may have to. We'll see where it goes. We have one rule in the show, and it's we don't math. Math is not allowed. But if it gets to the point where you feel you need to do math, we're going to give you special dispensation to do math if you need to. There you go.
So, on that note, before we move on to the next pairing, I actually want to ask you just talk about yourself. You went to culinary school in Brussels.
Belgium, in Brussels. So it's it was interesting. It was I did that as an evening class. So when you don't have work in Belgium, you can sign up for what they call social reinsertion, and so it's €30 per year. And so you sign up for 1 year, and you can learn butcher, or baker, or chocolatier, or whatever. And so I thought it would be fun to at least go one evening, and it would be a cheap personal class. And if I like it, the rest of the year is free. So I went there with a friend. I love to cook, but I was far from knowing anything about chocolate. I was very frustrated that every time I melt some chocolate for dessert or whatever, it never solidifies again. What's going on? And I have a good fridge, and why can't I do that? And so I thought, maybe I will learn in over a year, like, how do you really work chocolate? But other than that, it's not too much spent. And after 2 sessions, totally fell in love with the product, realized the complexity of it, how a noble product that is. And so that once you put your finger in it, you're trapped in it. And so so that's the culinary school.
One of those Chinese things.
That's totally that's exactly what. And then it's funny because the class is a lot of retirees who just always wanted to have a little bit more of knowledge about Belgian chocolate. And we come from Belgium, we should know. and then you have a lot of other people. I was having a corporate job at the time. I was having meeting in Sweden, and then trying to catch my flight on time to be back in Brussels to be at the class, and they were like, "Oh, the bus was late again. How are you coming over here?" And I was like, "I have my car," but I did not say I was in Stockholm today, right? So there was like this very level setting across ages and across background that I really liked. And I think every time you touch to either making beer or making food or making chocolate, you open those possibilities of going across whatever the structure of who you meet with and who you talk with, and finding a different common discussion points with very different people that you would otherwise not meet. So there was definitely something not only humbling but also eye-opening about the doors that chocolate can open. Because also chocolate is incredibly respected. It's a luxury item, but at the same time, it should be accessible to a lot of people. It doesn't have to be bad, sure. Right? And so in Belgium, we're overwhelmed with high quality chocolate. And so, but it's still a luxury product. So it was very interesting. I would highly recommend, like, if anyone is thinking about having like even a part-time cooking class or any opportunity to do that, it's something that you come back from it changed. And so that was a little bit the intention in the beginning. It definitely changed me more than expected as a consequence.
You think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So yeah, but that's where I went. So and then I like to joke, because there is not a lot of a chocolate school in Belgium, that it's one of the best, but there is not many others. So the big names of chocolate like Pierre Marcolini and all the other good names of Belgian chocolate, they also went there. So you learn the technique, but after that, it's your passion, is how you want to potentially work for someone or create your business that determines the type of chocolate you make. But that's where your creativity, you learn the technique, and then you do whatever life allows you to do with it.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Love it. I had just a quick comment up here. East Coast LQ reviews. Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes, absolutely.
Cheers, East Coast.
Cheers, East Coast. I finished mine.
Yeah, I just finished mine too. So
I'm cheersing with the next beer already.
There you go. So that's great that you did that. We'll talk more about your background and of course the business after the next pairing. So let's move on to the next one.
Okay. We were actually offering the next pairing as a choice, right? So the next pairing can work with the next one or the next two ones. Is that how we want to?
No,
well, the next pairing was specifically just for the Belgian.
Okay,
just
perfect.
For the dark,
perfect,
the quality.
Perfect. Love it.
And this is Chimay Blue, the Grand Reserve.
The Grand Reserve,
yes.
Yeah.
This is such a beautiful beer. And Benoit and I both have the cork and cage version. I prefer, anytime I've got a choice between a bottle cap or cork and cage, I always prefer the cork and cage.
Of course.
The reason the cork and cage is on there, because there's still some active yeast in the bottle.
100%. It's re-fermenting inside the bottle.
And you get more flavor components open up when you get that bottle conditioning. So I always love the cork and cage. Now, Chimay is one of the Trappist ales that are out there. The Trappist ales, most of our viewers know this, but those who are watching who don't know this, Trappist ale, it's named after the Trappist monks who brew it. And to be called a Trappist ale, it has to be brewed by monks. Mm-hmm. So this beer is brewed in a monastery. If you see something that's very, very similar, and it can be just as delicious, but it's not brewed in a monastery, they call them abbey ales, and that's your Bernardus, St. Bernardus beer, which is fantastic. It's one of the best things that comes out of Belgium is St. Bernardus.
There's a quadruple, which is an absolute legend.
Oh, that ABT, and I found a place, and Chris knows it as well, where they have it on tap in the city. So, and I'm sure you've been there. Yeah, I know he has.
I actually had a party where we managed to have a log of that, and then I had to warn all my friends, because otherwise I think we would have become an Airbnb.
Yeah, it's a strong one. It's a beautiful, beautiful beer. But this is another beautiful beer. This is one of the first Trappist ales that made it to the United States. Chimay and Corsendonk were the first two to come over here.
Okay.
So Americans are pretty familiar with this one who got into, because before craft beer, we had imports. We didn't, craft beer wasn't always a huge movement. We had the imports. So those of us who were looking for something with better flavor, we turned to imports. And this is one of the places we went, is the whole line of Chimay's and the course of Dunk.
So now, maybe also we can do a little tribute or a little wink to Spencer.
They have closed. They have stopped production.
Exactly. That's why I want to make a little reference, unfortunately, to them, which was the only American one. But it's
the only American Trappist brewery. Yes, absolutely.
It's a difficult status. Like it seems like, okay, those guys have been there since I don't know 16 something or more, and then you realize, well, no, you have to fight for being profitable, even if when you leave from mendicity, is that a word in English? From begging, from generosity. You still need to have a business that is profitable, even as a monk. So little wink to Spencer. I was so happy to know there was a Trappist in US, and it's not there anymore.
The funny thing is, we were to talk about the show about the glassware we have, and we did talk about some of the things that have been pilfered. Was that on the show? We talked about the pilferage on the show. Did we talk about the pilferage?
We briefly discussed it here and there. So
because
no different here right now.
Because most of the glasses I have, I've either bought or were given to me. But my Spencer glass, I actually did steal. So I'm probably.
So you're the reason.
There you go.
No. I stole it. I stole it from a hotel.
Which is no longer in business.
No, they're still in business. They're definitely still in business. Actually, I took it from the old Shebeen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I took an American Trappist Ale Brewery's glass from an Irish pub made out of parts of pubs from Ireland, put together in a hotel in Parsippany, New Jersey.
Now on that note of glassware, Benoit, what glass are you drinking your Chimay Grand Reserve out of?
So actually this one really comes from Belgium.
It's a Chimay glass. There you go.
Yeah. And it's I think they're a little bit smaller. I don't know why, because it's probably the same size of bottle and everything.
Right.
But I think the ones that are in US are a little bit larger than this. Right. But this one is coming from Belgium.
What I love about that glass is it's not the typical chalice that you see a lot of them in. And I'll turn mine around.
I was going to say, what are you drinking yours out of? Yeah, so
turn it around here. This is the Trappist West Fletteren.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, we talk about glassware a lot on the show, and there's different types of glassware do different things for the beer. It delivers the aromas to your nose differently, delivers the beer into your mouth differently. So Trappist ales are typically done in a chalice. The chalice actually does nothing to enhance the beer. They like to drink it out of chalices because they think it's, they're in honor of the Holy Grail. That's the only reason they drink out of chalices.
Sure.
So that's why I like what Benoit's drinking, because it's got a little bit, it comes together a little bit at the top there.
Mm-hmm.
So it does deliver more of the aromas to the nose rather than, what's basically you'd find this in like a hotel in the Poconos. Right, huge and filled with
just a water glass.
No, I'm talking. No, you know what I'm talking about.
I know. You're talking about Cove Haven and the.
Those things. The little hot tubs.
Is Cove Haven even there anymore?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I think if they were, you don't want to actually get in those things. Yeah.
And I don't know if yours have that too, but I think it's engraved at the bottom to help the forming of the bubbles too. Now it's too late to check because it's full of beer.
Hold on,
in about 10 minutes we're gonna check. Yes, exactly.
So
normally it's engraved at the bottom.
So I'm drinking out of we talked about St. Bernardus. I'm drinking out of my St. Bernardus.
That's nice.
Glass. All right, but however, Dave and Benoit are both drinking Chimay Blue. I could not find one. I did not have. Unfortunately, don't have one. I love Chimay Blue. It's one of my favorite Chimays. It's one of my favorite Belgians. But I did get another Belgian quad that is definitely one of my favorites, and that's Trappist Rochefort.
And John, you know full well that's actually my favorite quad.
Yes, it is.
When I first got a Trappist Rochefort quad, I poured it in the glass, and I think it was 10 to 15 minutes before I took my first sip, because all I wanted to do was sit there and smell the beer. It is one of the nicest smelling beers.
remember that anybody doesn't know this, and there's plenty of people that listen to the show that know this, right? But if there's anybody out there that doesn't know this, the mark of a good beer is one that you don't want to drink because it just smells too good to waste it in your mouth.
That's well said. That's really well said.
So let's have a sip there. Cheers, gents.
So do you do French cheers in Belgium? What is cheers in Belgium?
Oh, you say another one.
Another one.
No, I'm kidding.
Chris warned me about you. Yeah, he said that.
No, the French cheers is santé. That's what you do.
So you guys do santé.
But my joke is actually coming from a commercial. There was a commercial on TV about two guys enjoying a beer on the Belgian Square in Brussels.
Okay.
And then there are two Germans next to them, and they just wonder what they have because they seem to really enjoy their beer. And so the two Germans are asking, what are you drinking? And then the Belgians are looking and they go, the same, thank you. So it's not far from your question.
So, but there's no. Is there a Flemish word for cheers or?
Yes, it's gezondheid, which is a little bit longer. Yeah, it sounds like a trick when you say it, but it means good health. Exactly.
Which is funny because anytime I sneeze, people say that to me.
That's what in this country means.
Yes, I need it here. Yes, well, good connection there. All right, so we paired this one. Is it any other words about the tasting notes or?
Well, the one thing I wanted to bring out, especially about many of the dark Belgians, the yeast that's used in so many dark Belgians. Mm-hmm. I mentioned earlier esters. Yeast. We all know that yeast gives off carbonation.
Sure.
It gives off alcohol, but they also give off phenols and esters. Esters can be fruity, floral, or that. Belgian yeast almost always throws some sort of fruit, and in the dark Belgian beers, you almost always get like a raisin kind of flavor, and you definitely get raisin in Chimay Blue.
Totally, yeah.
You get raisin, a little currant,
but there's also, and then the phenols. There's a little black pepper.
Black pepper. Yeah. You could even get a little plum. I'm getting a little plum in.
Yes, there's definitely plum in here.
In the Chappus Rochefort.
Did we say black currant before? Right.
Yes,
we did. Right. Yeah, definitely.
So these are the flavor profiles that
dark fruit and just dark dry fruit. And it's funny because we say currants, we say raisins, but it's plums. It's certainly not prunes by any means.
Please.
Hey, they remarketed prunes as dried plums because prunes had such a negative
ton. Yeah, exactly.
that old people had to use them to make sure they were regular.
Exactly.
So they remarketed them as dry plums.
Dried plums.
Yeah.
Okay, so now all the plums are frustrated, right?
Right. Exactly. So yeah. All the regular plums are called wet plums now. Right?
Yes. Oh no, they're wet prunes.
Wet prunes. Right.
There is a lot of legs in that comment.
There you go.
So we're pairing it with the Biscoff. So in Belgium we call it the speculoos. And so the Biscoff, we was the first chocolate where we had customers come back and just buy a box of those. They were like, "This is so unique. Never had a chocolate like that. Just want to come back and just like a box of only those chocolate." What's special about this when we will try it is it was very hard to do a ganache with a cookie that stays crunchy. Mm-hmm. So we're recooking the cookies to give them an additional crunch. So you will have that crunch in the ganache. So that's. Go ahead.
For everybody who's listening, if you've ever flown Delta, you know what a Biscoff cookie is. Give them out. If you've been to San Francisco, they're a big thing in San Francisco. Sure. They have their kiosks all over the place where you can get the Biscoff and their coffee. And if you're ever someplace where they make a Biscoff shake, get that. That is just an amazing thing. So, I love Biscoff.
I agree. I think we're only at the beginning of Biscoff taking over the world. Like I had a Biscoff tiramisu. It was incredible. And so one of the things we created is a Biscoff s'mores. So instead of the graham cracker, you actually use that
Biscoff. Oh,
like
I like
you're
that.
You're on another level, and of course we use our chocolate, right? Obviously,
Whoa.
but yeah, it's actually an upgraded s'mores as well. So I think we haven't seen the whole potential of Biscoff yet.
It's the Biscoff revolution.
Exactly.
There is a risk for that. So have a bite of it. So you will have half of it. So you get that nice crunchy texture. You have all the spice that come out. And then the white chocolate around kind of smooth everything together. But you stay on that predominant spice profile. Keep a little bit melted.
Whoa.
And then you get that incredible result.
That's a pop.
I love that explosion. So we have something in Belgium which we call a spice bread, which is a lot sweeter. It's pain d'épices. Maybe Chris Nant can help us in the chat on what would be the equivalent of that. But it's a combination of honey and it's kind of a little bit of a pudding bread with a lot of spices, and you get exactly that. You forget that you did mix it with a beer. Like the whole flavor profile of the beer is coming out, forgetting it's a beer, and then the combination with the Biscoff goes into a complete different location. I really, really like that. So it's kind of a panettone that met with another type of fruit bread, and then just had to put it together. Like I love that combination.
Wow, that's so good.
That is an amazing reaction right there, because you get, like you said, the spices from the cookie. They step forward. That cinnamon is still there, but I talked earlier about the phenols in the beer and that black pepper, and that was that pop. Was that the phenols?
You got it.
Really popped when you take that first sip. That was amazing, and it wasn't even. And we say black pepper, we talk about phenols, we think of the stringency. It wasn't astringent though. It was just the flavor is what really popped there, and just it makes you sit back. That's something else.
So I think there is probably an opportunity to do a sort of a new dessert. That would be a combination of something which is cooked in beer with those spices, and have like something super, a little bit spongy, and at the same time like super homey. Or I think there is like many possibilities for just this combination.
How about like some sort of bread pudding?
Yeah, that would.
I think
that's a champion's breakfast.
Yeah. I like that idea. I do like that idea.
I said it because I know John loves his bread pudding.
Oh, I love my bread pudding.
You do?
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine with this?
That would be amazing.
With these flavors, wow.
Oh, I got now. I gotta. Well, I was gonna say I gotta write these down. I could just go back to the show notes.
Do we ever?
No.
Well,
no. I write something.
You write them. Do we ever go back to them?
Well, never.
Yeah. Okay.
Never. Well, I refer back to them if I want. If something that I need, but other than that, do we ever go back to them? No.
What's also interesting is when you go back to the beer alone, it actually tastes a lot more bitter than it was on the first flavor. Like we went so far that there is a little bit of a pendulum effect.
Yep.
Like by contrast, there is a bitterness that is not common in the Chimay that comes back, like reminding us, it's still a very, it's a beer. It's almost like it doesn't taste a quadruple anymore.
Yeah, no, the beer has changed. And I imagine it's going to take a couple more sips for the beer to get right back to what it was. But I want that pop again, so I'm going to put the rest of the chocolate in my mouth.
Yeah. And that texture was really difficult to get. The texture of the chocolate.
This is amazing.
That is fantastic. Now the thing is, you said texture. From the four chocolates I got when I first ordered, you guys, the one thing that really, really impressed me is that it's not only do you pay attention closely to the flavors? You also pay attention to the textures.
A lot.
The Black Forest one. Now, I have it on good authority that you actually buy a jam and get rid of all the jam just to get the cherries out of it, because that's the texture you want.
That's the only way I could find it.
This is how crazy this man is about getting the right texture, and we love you for that. That one, and I told John when he orders, and he's going to order, make sure you get that Black Forest one, because
I'll get several of those.
Yeah, the Black Forest one might be one of the single best pieces of chocolate I've ever put into my face.
Thank you.
Not just his mouth either, his face.
No, the whole face. I want a big one so I can just go whomp.
So when we develop a flavor, I don't know if it's of interest, but I can speak a little bit about it. So
sure.
Telling people buy it from me because I like it, it's not a really good value proposition, right? It's like, I tested it, so everybody should love it.
Of course.
It's a little bit short. So what we try to do is to do, for every chocolate we release, we do 3 sessions, one at 4 p.m., one at 6 p.m., one at 8 p.m., so that we have different time of the day.
Sure.
Because your flavors, your appetite for something is changing, whether it's end of the day, before dinner, after dinner.
Right.
So I want to make sure that, if it's good after dinner, we know it's good then. If it's good before, but not after, I want to know. And then we try to have a panel of 10 people for each, which has a parity of men and women, because some chocolate, all the men will give a feedback or all the women will give a feedback. And it's important to know who do we want to please with this one compared to last one. Right. But also a good indication of American and European profiles. So that if people say, this is too sweet, who is saying that? Like, is it a man from Europe at 4 p.m. or is it a woman from US after dinner? Right. It's important to know. And so we get those feedback on 3 different aspects. Which is the connection with the comment you made about the texture. So first, the promise. So I told you it's a Biscoff chocolate. Mentally, you have an expectation of whatever you remember your Biscoff is. So you expect something. If I say it's lavender or it's chai, you have an expectation. When you taste it, are you impressed with your experience or are you disappointed compared to, even if you don't know the product, what your expectation was?
Sure.
The second feedback is, how is the overall experience in terms of texture, look, design, complexity of the flavor? So what's your emotion? And then what do you make of the product? Like, is it worth it, the brand of BE Chocolat? And then the third one is it unique enough that if you really, really liked it, you will have to go back to us, or you can go down the store, down the street, and you have a product similar, right? And so if we say yes to those 3 things, then we consider the product is market ready. And some of them, honestly, we had to bang our head on the wall. Like, we've done like 4 sessions and we're still not there. Like the lavender was a torture. And we finally landed to somewhere which
that's a hard ingredient.
It's everything tasted like toilet freshener, and I've never tasted real toilet freshener, but that was the feedback I was getting. I was not even second guessing that they meant it. So that's terrible when you get that, right?
That's
toilet freshener with eggs over a nice omelet with.
I mean, you don't want that, right?
But it's funny because when my son and I were in Yellowstone, we fell in love with huckleberry, and we got. No, not the hound, the fruit. And so we got a huckleberry chocolate bar, and I took one taste of it, and I pulled the face. My son looks at me like, "You need to taste this." He's like, "Well, what does it taste like?" I'm like, "I swear to God, it tastes like what I would expect a urinal cake to taste like." And he took a taste of it. And he's like, "Oh my God, you're right." Not that any of us have ever tasted a urinal cake. I hope nobody here listening.
Well, you know what the flavor could be, right? Because you smell it, right?
Yeah.
And,
exactly. But yeah, no. So I get.
But here's the thing, though. Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
But that's an impressive process that you go through right there. Every single step of it to make sure it's marketable. And you talked about how, whereas one person recommending it to another person, it may not work for them. But the one thing I'll tell you, me recommending the Black Forest to John and I, when it comes to our palates, we are probably separated at birth. We pretty much we like almost exactly the same things. Our favorite beers are the same. We pull the same things out of it. So when I recommend something to John,
usually
he's going to like it. If I like it, he's going to like it usually. Right. So it's really kind of sucks on this show that the two hosts have exactly the same palate, so there's no counterpoints.
There's no counterpoint.
But you protect yourself from some of the fights that we got during those sessions. Like we had a couple. There was a chocolate which is cranberry orange, and so all the
classic.
They're silent, right? Because we don't want everybody to debate. We want their input, and then we would like them to talk about what they wrote. But it's captured the way they meant it when they initially.
Right, they're not changing their opinion based on listening to somebody else.
We don't want an agreement that it's okay. Like we really want individual
absolutely.
feedback.
Right. No,
and
absolutely.
So
we do that with beer too. Whenever we talk about
a husband was
like
saying, "Hey, I think it's too much cranberry, and I don't get the orange." And then his wife was like, "Oh, that's embarrassing because I wrote exactly the opposite.
Right?
I get the orange and I don't get the cranberry."
Which means it was perfect. There you
go. But talking about different palates, right?
Yep.
So then she goes, "Do you even know what cranberry tastes like to say that?" And
we're like,
boy. Oh my God. And so we were like, so anyone else thinks that, it's too much of one of those? And then half of the audience is raising their hand. Like, yeah, I only got the cranberry or only got the orange. And so we did another round and we only called it cranberry. We did not even change the recipe. But the expectation was cranberry.
Right.
And then people were like, "Oh, I get the cranberry," and some of them could taste. Oh, by the way, there is a hint of orange, like when my grandma was doing cranberry for Thanksgiving, and I love that.
Right.
And then the expectation was fixed. But sometimes when you have different palates, you have those almost conflicts,
which might actually make our show more interesting.
Absolutely.
If we did,
I don't know.
If we fought all the time,
very true.
It'd be like a soap opera. It'd be great.
I got a comment
as the tongues turn.
As the tongues turn. Got a comment in here from Brian Boak, actually a couple. He said, "I ordered an extra package of dark chocolate for my wife for Valentine's Day already. It arrived today." And then he said. My wife is sharing the chocolate, but not the beer. She loved the yellow heart. She said.
Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you for that. Thank you.
And
so,
Brian, that's a power move there, ordering that extra box.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Now there'll be an order coming in tomorrow or Thursday. I'm not waiting till the 10th.
I've got stuff in my cart already. By the way.
Gotcha.
So if you check on our website, there is a post on Google Map, which is literally behind the steering wheel of someone who was in front of the store and just took a picture of the box that was open with the steering wheel and the store in the back. And it was like, "I'm posting this review as I'm eating in front of the store, and I'm just gonna go back."
Just eat them now, go back in and get more, and then leave.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, so you will see that.
I will tell you this though: if you ever need to do another panel with palates and everything else, I know 4 people that will Dave, I, Just Carrie,
one past that door.
Yeah, one downstairs. We'll bring a case of beer and we'll call it a day. There you go.
Perfect.
From what Chris has told me, we'd have to bring more than a case for Benoit.
Bring a couple of cases of beer.
There we go. Let's rephrase that.
I've been told
we'll each bring a case of beer.
I've been told that if you show up at Benoit's shop and you brought some beer with you, you're going to be there for at least 3 hours.
Fair enough.
If not more.
That's
a beautiful thing.
That's a reputation that we defend. I don't want to say every day, but every time it happens. So yeah.
Well, I do know a brewery in Jersey that I could probably get my hands on some beer I could bring up for you. So.
Okay.
Go. He knows that he's got an in with the owner.
I'm very, very close to the owner.
Okay.
Very close to the owner. So.
The owner's sitting in his chair right now.
Okay.
There you go. And Brian said he'd come too. He says he will bring Monster Mash, and you want him to bring Monster Mash. This is true. Brian, the 6 of us will come up, and he'll have Monster Mash.
I would love to see what chocolate Monster Mash would pair with.
It is a 10% Russian Imperial Stout.
aged in.
No, Russian.
Oh, that's not the age one.
Yeah. Wooden Beanie is the he takes. Wooden Beanie is actually not Monster Mash. Monster Mash, aged in Jack Daniel's barrels with Madagascar vanilla beans, is called. What's the giant from Jack and the Beanstalk?
Crap.
Bumbledore.
No,
Bumbledore.
No, Dumbledore.
Dumbledore.
No, Dumbledore is from Harry Potter, by the way.
Brian, please comment it. There you go. Blunderbore. I knew
Blunderbore. There it is.
He can bring Blunderbore as he has.
As we blunder about the friggin' name of that beer.
He takes his 10% Russian Imperial Stout Monster Mash, and he ages it in Jack Daniel's barrels with Madagascar vanilla beans. Jack and the Beanstalk, Blunderbore. That's how he gets the name. So, yeah.
There is talking about barrel aged. There is a Delirium beer that recently seemed to have hit several of our shelves in Connecticut. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a black bottle. It's about $36, and it's
I've seen it.
Aged in bourbon barrel.
Yeah,
this is an absolute revelation.
Yeah,
like I don't know if you tried it or talked about it.
I haven't had it yet, but I want to.
I look at it on the shelf all the time, then I see the price point and go, I could get 8 bottles of beer for this one, but I do love Delirium. I love Brewery Hugans. Actually,
what we need to do is we need to get that bottle and split it. Is what we need to do.
It's a bottle to share because it's 11%. So even if you wanted to keep it for yourself, good luck. I mean, it's gonna.
Well, I mean, as you can tell, I have, and this is a fraction of the bottles I have, and except the front row is 500 mils. Everything in the back are 750s.
Okay.
By the way,
can't have them myself.
By the way, the shirt that John's wearing is from a brewery called Weyerbacher. It is it's a barley wine. Is it 12% barley wine?
11 and change, 12.
11 change, almost 12. Yeah. And Blithering Idiot, they will put that in bourbon barrels. And when they put in bourbon barrels, it's called Insanity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So their logo is a jester. It's a court jester. Mm-hmm. The Fool. And their tagline for Insanity is...
There's the jester's...
So their tagline for Insanity is "The Fool has finally lost it."
The Fool has finally lost it.
It's a really good. And Blithering Idiot put Weyerbacher on the map.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
That's a really, really good beer.
It's a really good beer. Yeah, I do have it, and I have a bottle of it downstairs in the fridge. So
I may have one over there. Yeah. I may have a couple of those. I may have their quad over there too.
And when I was actually picking up the single of 2 of the beers I was having tonight, and the 6-pack of Hoegaarden, they actually had singles of Blithering Idiot. I'm like, well, I actually have a couple of them. I do have a couple in the fridge, but I'm like, I could always use another one. Nah.
Okay, so
by the way, I did pick up, just not that this means anything to this podcast, but I did want to inform you because I hadn't told you. While I was there, as I was walking past, I had the bottles in my hand. I'm ready to leave. And I was walking past, and I saw a 6-pack of Kostritzer Schwarzbier. So I'm like, "Thank you."
I have the glass that it goes with in the box in storage. Anyway, so our next pairing.
So, I'm going to save a little. I'm going to save this because I'm going to AB the fourth one with the rest of that. So we got a course.
I don't have to save much because I'm still not done with my bottle.
Right. Well, I only had what is it? 11.2 ounces. So.
Okay.
We're moving on to our stout, correct, Benoit?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so there it is.
For those so I just found out
you have SPK.
He's got SPK. That's our fault. We forgot to tell Benoit to flip his video. And we've got to tell him how to do that, but it's okay. But we got KBS. So So Benoit's Belgian, and we start off with 2 Belgians, and then Benoit is showing his love for the American craft beer. And what's amazing is the term craft beer is very much an American thing. In most other countries, they just call it beer because their beers already good.
It's already good.
We have to call it craft beer because we've got so much piss
This
beer
one is
here.
special.
And this one is special.
Right. And I mean, we call it craft beer. We call it micro brewed beer. We call it.
We don't call it artisanal beer.
We don't call it. Yeah. So.
But Founders is out of Michigan, as a lot of people know, and
Grand Rapids to be exact. Great brewery, great space, gorgeous space. Actually, if you ever get the chance to go to Grand Rapids, love it. I've been there. Food is great.
And I hear Kalamazoo, which is now closed, from what I understand.
Well, Kalamazoo is Bell's.
That's Bell's. No, it's not Kalamazoo. What was Founders' other place?
Detroit. They might have three. They had one in Detroit that closed. They had another one.
There was a third one that closed. Well, anyway, but Founders. So breakfast stout is the base beer for this, and there's a couple of treatments that they do to breakfast stout. They will age it in maple barrels and call it Canadian breakfast stout, which is great beer. There's a lot of great stories behind that, especially logo. But when it's KBS, it's Kentucky breakfast stout, which means it has been aged in Kentucky bourbon barrels. And if anybody knows anything, they know John and I love anything that you throw into a bourbon barrel, including bourbon.
Right.
So
and that's most of these bottles back up here on the top.
There you go. The top shelf.
Breakfast stout is called breakfast stout. Yes, because it's there's oated, there's chocolate in it to begin with. What else is in the breakfast stout, John? I forget. It's chocolate. It's oats.
So it's a double chocolate coffee oatmeal stout.
The coffee, that's what makes it the breakfast stout.
I said double chocolate coffee oatmeal stout. Now we talked about this because we're at KBS, but if you can't find KBS, get the breakfast stout. And of course, Benoit does have a bottle of breakfast stout, and I will be drinking.
There you go.
Breakfast stout. So if you read right there, it says double chocolate coffee oatmeal stout. There you go.
So I thought you knew that from rote.
They changed
I
the
should know
label.
it already, but
They had
the baby was on it. They actually got guff for it, right? For having a baby on a beer label.
Guff. Benoit, do you know what the word guff means?
Well, I think I just understood it.
In context.
There are certain words in the context that you don't need to know what it means and figure out what it means.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they got a lot of they got some
negative feedback.
There you go.
The label was the label for so long, and then all of a sudden,
exactly. That's how everybody. So I think they kept the spoon on the 6-pack.
Yeah,
like when you get the 6-pack,
it has a spoon on it. Yeah, the spoon's on it.
But it's and it's okay. It's still on the label.
The spoon's still there.
There is the baby spoon, but not the baby.
The spoon's there on the label. Yeah.
But that was the thing about the Canadian breakfast stout. What they used to do in Canadian breakfast stout, they had a Royal Canadian Mountie on there. The guy on here, there he is on the horse, and the Royal Canadian Mountie said, "Can you please stop doing that? We don't want to be associated with drinking."
The last year they did the Royal Canadian Mountie on the horse was 2017.
So then, what they did when they decided that they would honor the request, they show the same horse, but the horse is rearing up with no rider, implying that it has thrown the rider off the horse.
Those guys are incredibly creative.
Oh, they've got a great sense of humor there.
Yes, they do.
So now we've talked about the beer and the tasting notes. Is as we said, there's that double chocolate. There's the oat. You do have the coffee can be strong depending upon the temperature.
The case that is holding my other glass is actually under my camera. So I want to try both. So give me one quick second. There will be an image movement, and then I'm gonna come back with an empty glass.
So Mark, it's time too. Could it tell everybody to see the image movement?
Yeah. Thanks for warning us. Otherwise, we thought that Fairfield was having a earthquake.
Right.
That's not. It's relax, folks. There is no earthquake occurring.
Exactly.
We now have a different angle. We can see more of the shop now, which is cool.
Which is true.
Yeah, that's really cool. I do plan on getting there sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because there you go. There's more of the shop. But because I really, really want to get back to Rhode Island one of these days, and
I gotta get up there too. Yeah.
I gotta go through Fairfield to get.
We gotta plan something. We'll plan something.
We gotta do something. I've used a lot of my vacation time for this Belgian trip, by the way, because I plan on drinking as much Belgian beer.
You can always
Did
make
I-
it.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
make it a 2-day thing. You know. Like
Did I tell you that I'm going to the Lambicodrome?
No.
You know what the Lambicodrome is?
So is it in Brussels?
It's
the
outside.
one-
It's south of Brussels.
Okay, then no, I don't.
It is Dreifontainens, one of their locations, and it's just all lambics, and it's not
Wow.
lambic.
Didn't I have a Valentine on the show in the fall at some point? I remember having one.
Yeah, you did. But
I did. Right, yeah.
I plan on bringing my Nexium, my Nexium for that.
Yeah.
Because man, when you drink that many lambics, it just tears your stomach up.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
no. You see, I just carry it. But here's the thing, and Dave will tell you really quick. On that note, he talks about bringing Nexium. Dave's been there. I've been there. We actually meant to have him on the show. He actually got pulled away to a meeting right before the show, so we still did the show on his brewery without him. But Coven Brewing in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, he specializes in IPAs and sours, and he does so many sours that every table and every high top in his tasting room has a big bottle of Tums on it. No need to bring your own. They're there.
He thinks of everything.
Right. So,
All right, so we covered the beers, or you?
Yep,
how
yep,
would
yep,
you
we
like
covered the
to?
beers.
No,
I mean, you look at what you're drinking, the KBS versus what I'm drinking. You're getting the same notes I'm getting, except bourbon.
And
right?
with the bourbon,
And if the bourbon is amplifying the chocolate, it's amplifying the malt, it's amplifying, it's modifying the coffee a little bit. It's not amplifying, it's modifying the coffee a little bit, but it's basically just it's kicking it up a notch with bourbon, more or less. Right?
But also the bourbon barreling adds a wood element as well.
There's wood. There's a charred
Yep,
element.
there's
to it.
that
A little bit of
charred,
little bit of vanilla in there too.
But the vanilla,
It's there.
The base beer has vanilla as well,
and not as much.
But there's a little bit more because
it's accentuated because of the barrel.
Because the barrel is oak, and American white oak is from the same family the vanilla is from.
It's rose vanilla,
that compound, the vanillin compound that's in vanilla, which it's named after, of course, is also in the oak. So Benoit, I imagine you're going to want to do the breakfast stout first with this.
I think so.
Well, no, there's one chocolate we're doing the breakfast stout with, and the other one we're doing both with.
Yeah, what I was
you can do either
was,
or.
Either or. I'm going to actually, there's 2 bites that we're going to do, right? So I'm going to do one with one with the other.
So what I was thinking was we can do the first bite of each chocolate, but what I think will go the best is the salted caramel with the KBS,
right,
and then the praline with the other one. But the alternative will be also spectacular.
Okay.
So we will start with the salted caramel.
Okay.
All right. And which is with I'm sorry, John. Which is with the KBS.
Right.
All right.
Exactly.
So the salted caramel is this one, but it works with the other one too, right?
This one or
so it's the rectangular one.
The rectangular one.
So this one here.
This one.
That one.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So we're using grass-fed Vermont butter to do that caramel. I wanted to do our own caramel. So it's 45 minutes when you melt slowly the sugar. There is no simple syrup, nothing, so that you don't burn the sugar. So
you can take it
low
and slow.
You just like slowly, and then with that grass-fed Vermont butter, it's important because it has a higher burning point. So you don't get like a burnt caramel, you get a golden caramel. And then we debated in our tasting session how smooth the caramel should be. So when you will bite into it, there will be a little bit that goes on your bottom lip. It's by design.
Okay.
And it sounds crazy, but it's actually true.
Yeah.
So have a bite.
Now, John, are you going to do the breakfast stout with it?
I'm doing the breakfast stout. Yeah.
Yeah. So you get that beautiful caramel.
That texture. Oh my God.
And then slowly the chocolate melts.
And you get that.
And then you remember what I told earlier about the saliva. So only later the saliva start to hit the salt. And then you start to get the crystals.
Yeah, there's that, and there's like almost a burnt butter flavor.
Yeah.
A little bit of
you get the butter, and then everything balances out, which is I don't like when they put salt on top of the chocolate and then you get a rush of salt. So the more everything melts and your saliva dissolve everything, then everything balances out, which is what you want.
Oh my God, that is fantastic by itself.
So then when you have the crystals that are in the teeth, is the right moment to have a sip.
Oh my God.
So the salt is totally going after. For the one that we have, like the wood is coming out.
No,
it's almost like it's only. I want to say you have an aftertaste of bourbon, which is predominant.
An aftertaste of bourbon. It's almost predominantly bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's astonishing.
Totally pushes
what I might do for the next taste of because I'm just drinking the breakfast out here, which is fantastic. So I'm getting different notes too, right? It's accentuating. It's accentuating the oats in it. Really, I'm getting a little bit more roast from some of the malt, the oats. The chocolate's definitely it's there, but it's actually muted a little bit because of the caramel and the salt. I think both chocolate notes are canceling each other out, even though it's double chocolate. But I'm getting more roast than anything. But it definitely, but it's definitely with that salt in there. It's definitely that. That burst. Everything's much more accentuated from it. Is what I'm getting. But what I was going to say is what I might do is I might grab one of my bottles of bourbon,
just pour it in,
right?
Just like do your own,
do a floater.
No, I might just pour just pour like a drop of bourbon in one glass and just wet my lips with the bourbon, then take a sip of the take the chocolate, wet my lips with the bourbon, and take a sip of the breakfast.
So what's interesting doing both is that with the breakfast stout, mainly the beer is coming forward, while with the other one only the bourbon is coming forward. But what's interesting is what's coming forward from the beer is the oatmeal. Like there is and everything else, the coffee, the chocolate, what they say is in the recipe kind of disappear, and the oatmeal is coming forward. I think the first pairing is more complex, but both are really revealing a lot about the beer. It's interesting to know that it's the same beer at the origin. It's just with the twist of bourbon.
It's just they took this specific beer and put it in a bourbon barrel. That's all they did.
Yeah, exactly.
What's really strange, and I don't know if it's just a mind game on my part, one of the aftertastes I got out of this, I don't know if it was the yeast ester, I don't know if it was out of the malt or something like that, but I almost got like a little bit of a raspberry note coming out of it at the end, and I'm not sure where that came from. That was strange.
It definitely came from the bourbon because I didn't get it.
Yeah, it came from the KB.
I get it. I got it too.
You did get it.
Little,
okay, so
fruity red berry note.
Yeah. Bright, a little bit of brightness,
bright freshness.
Yeah,
yes, exactly.
I poured a tiny little drop of
just to wet your lips.
Just to wet my lips.
That's not even a wee dram.
Not even a wee dram. Brian Boak just commented. He said, "My wife likes the chocolate better than the beer."
Well, there's a surprise.
and let me guess, the opposite holds true for you, Brian.
Take the words.
No, I'm pretty certain.
It's all cranberry orange story all over again.
No, I'm pretty certain Brian's enjoying both of them.
I'm sure he is.
He is a connoisseur. I mean, connoisseur of so many things.
Oh, absolutely.
But you know what, you Dave, you get that red berry notes also from the glass now, from the KBS. Because you kind of tasted it before, now you can smell it and recognize it. I wouldn't have picked it up. I was more like licorice and stuff, but this is not.
If you get
something else,
if you can get your nose around the wood, yes, it's sitting behind there.
Oh my God! Wow, that's vastly different.
Yes,
vastly different. I'm getting that red berry.
I am. Yeah,
I am.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Think it's in the beer. It's
so Brian's agreeing with me that he's enjoying both.
Yes.
It's either that or he's agreeing with me that he's a connoisseur.
I think he's agreeing with both.
I keep mispronouncing that.
Well, he's a Giants fan too, Dave. So we're all connoisseurs at these days.
We're definitely in the shitter.
We're definitely in the shitter. Yeah.
So one fun fact about the salted caramel, we also have it in dark chocolate. But when we did it in the same mold, because it sounds logical, like, okay, it's the same shape, it's easier for a marketing standpoint, it was way too much caramel. You couldn't taste the chocolate. And at the base, we're a chocolatier. So where is the chocolate? So we had to take a different shape of a mold, which is like the same shape as the heart that we had for the yellow, so that there was a ratio of chocolate to caramel that was balanced for the dark chocolate.
That's why I was confused, because when the first pack that I ordered the salted caramel, but I ordered the dark chocolate. So I didn't think the rectangle was the salted chocolate. I thought the rounded one was.
That's the reason. And it tasted. I mean, you missed the dark chocolate if it's in the rectangle.
I'll tell you one thing. If you give me a choice over dark chocolate and milk chocolate, I'm going to take dark chocolate almost every single time. When it comes to your salted caramel, I want the milk chocolate. I think that balance is so much better, and I think that you get the cooked butter.
Yeah.
So much more from the milk chocolate than you do the dark chocolate. I think steps over everything.
It was popular demand. Like people were so we do bars as well with that salted caramel inside, and I only do them in milk for that reason. But there was a demand. Hey, I love your salted caramel. I want it into dark chocolate. And so we're like, all right, but it's not going to be the same shape and everything. And so we landed there. But it was like out of generosity, but not the original design. When I tasted the flavor, it was like, hands down, it's a milk one.
Oh, yeah. And for me to prefer milk chocolate over dark chocolate.
Yeah, I agree. You just listen to the taste buds.
Oh, my God.
100%.
This is amazing.
It is. Really quick, Brian did comment. He said, I do eat very limited chocolate. This is, and all in caps, really good chocolate. Okay.
Oh, yes, it is.
And then he said, Jen is a big dark chocolate fan.
Well, here's the thing about chocolate. In the United States, it's funny because if you talk to anybody in Europe and you talk about American chocolate, they all pull a face. And there's a very good reason for it. They look down on American chocolate for a very good reason. It's chemical, as a matter of fact. There is a acid that is added to American chocolate that was originally added to make sure that the milk from the dairy got to the chocolatier, because this is a very large country. In Europe, the countries are a little smaller, so the dairy might be
smaller.
A little small. The dairy might be just down the road from the chocolatier, if not next door. So the milk gets there fresh.
The entire continent of Europe is smaller than the United States.
It's smaller than so there's it's not bucolic acid. It begins with a B, though, but it is the same acid that is the acid that is prevalent butyric. Yep. That is present in vomit. So yeah, it is. It's the same, and it's also in Parmesan cheese, by the way.
Right.
But when
I love it in Parmesan cheese.
I would.
Don't really like it.
I can choose.
So when Europeans taste American chocolate, they're tasting that acid. They're tasting sick. American chocolate tastes sick to Europeans. So when they look down upon American chocolate, there's a reason for it. We're used to it. Yeah. This is we like our Hershey's, we like our Nestle's.
There's a mechanical difference too. So when Hershey's is doing chocolate, they grind it to 56 microns, because if you want to grind it smaller and more refined, it takes time. And if you speed up the process, you burn it.
Right.
But if you want to speed up to 56 micron, you can add a little bit of sugar. And then that sugar is caramelizing in the process and extracting the cocoa flavors. And that's why Hershey's has that, caramelly taste. However, when you go to 32 microns, which is the size of most of the European chocolates, it's the size of your taste buds. So taste buds are just 32 microns. So your level of absorption of the flavor is actually the size of your taste buds. And it takes 18 hours to refine chocolate to that 32 microns. But if you want to speed up the process because of profitability and everything, then you get this caramelly, a little bit burn flavor. And also because of the sugar that helps with extraction. So it's also a mechanical difference in the process of making the chocolate.
Okay, so mechanical and also chemical. So
yeah, which is, but again, No problem with her. The problem is most of chocolate buy is an impulse buy. And so people buy chocolate when they are at CVS, at the supermarket, at whatever. And so they end up being exposed to bad chocolate. I don't think they want by design bad chocolate. It's just that at the moment of the impulse is happening, it's just not the best chocolate which is in front of.
I mean, I can only speak for myself. I'll buy. I'm not going to say I won't buy a Hershey's bar, right? And I'm certainly
exactly no.
I'm certainly going to buy Reese's. Yeah. Not that I'm buying it for the chocolate. I'm buying it for the.
I like the Hershey's Kisses.
Yeah. But the Hershey's Kisses, I'll buy Hershey's. I'll buy a Hershey's regular bar or an almond bar. And of course any other. But it's feeding a sugar craving, right? It's feeding a, I'm a little peckish. I need a little something to tide me over, or whatever. But if I'm going out and purchasing chocolate because I want chocolate, I'm not buying Hershey's bar. I'm not buying that. I'm buying. Now I'm ordering BE Chocolat. All right,
well,
but I'm buying Ghirardelli. I'm buying the something a little better than a Hershey's bar.
The thing is, like Benoit was talking about going to the grocery store or Walmart, wherever you're going. If you go to Trader Joe's, if you're online at Trader Joe's, there are bins of Ghirardelli chocolate.
Oh yeah, well, I'm talking about the local convenience store, 7-Eleven or the ShopRite or whatever.
But the Ghirardelli
is okay.
But it's
absolutely okay.
Yeah, because Ghirardelli doesn't use the usual American process. There are good American chocolates out there. Scharfenberger, I really do like Scharfenberger a lot. That's one of my favorite American dark chocolate bars is Scharfenberger. But that said, Americans, it's Hershey, it's Nestle's, that's what we're used to. That's what we eat.
Have either of you had Tony's?
Those I love Tony's.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you one thing about Tony's though. It is the loudest damn chocolate bar out there. And I'll tell you, so went to Ireland. Carrie and her child came with us, and he had a Tony's with him, and we're on Lufthansa. No, was it Lufthansa? No, it's Icelandic Air, I think. And it's a time where everyone's supposed to be sleeping. I have given him enough Advil PM to put a horse under, but he won't sleep. So he gets peckish. So he starts in on the Tonys. I think he woke the whole damn plane up. 10 minutes unwrapping that chocolate bar. That is the foil they use. Has a decibel level of higher than
and it's one of the hardest foils to get open too.
It is, but their stuff is good. I love the one the dark chocolate one with the pretzel bits in it.
They're all good. Both my daughters for Father's Day last year, they walk in, they got me some little things, but they got me and they handed me a bag with a card in it, and they both had like a 6-pack of 6 different Tony's bars, the small ones. And my one daughter hands it to me, and then my other daughter walks in. And here's your Happy Father's Day, Dad. She hands me the bag. She thought they both got me the same Tony's without collusion. They have no idea. They don't live together. They're older. They have their own place.
But they talk.
But no, they didn't collude. They did this on their own. They both wound up getting the same thing. So, but anyway, so.
Benoit, I did want to ask you a question. You have a Belgian chocolate shop in Fairfield, Connecticut. Why? What brought you there? How did you wind up
my
there?
corporate job actually made us land in Fairfield. So I was working for Hewlett-Packard in IT, and then my customer was General Electric. And they had IT facilities in Atlanta, in Cincinnati, and then when there was the selection process of who was gonna get the role, I was their account manager for Europe, and I visited Cincinnati, which I was going regularly to, and I was coming from Brussels, and then I pushed back a little bit, like I hope nobody's from Cincinnati on the podcast, but.
If Rod J's watching, sorry, Rod.
Yeah, I think my words were.
Is in Beer Jesus is from Cincinnati too, isn't he?
It's beer
blue
Jesus.
grass or Mason and so I think my words were, it doesn't feel like a promotion, and and I may have offended a few, but and then at the same time I was negotiating.
If you've had their chili, that's no offense.
Correct, and I mean,
like
it's great. It's great to go there, but living
I don't
there,
love it, but I like it.
It's at a level of commitment.
It's a nice place to visit. But
Exactly, and then I was negotiating a lot of contract with the headquarters, and then GE Capital was in Norwalk, which is not far from Fairfield.
It's right there.
And it's by the water. It's an hour from New York.
Oh, if I had the choice between, and probably a lot of people in Cincinnati, if they had the choice of Cincinnati or near the Sound,
exactly. So I said, hey,
unless you're talking about taxes.
Yeah, a lot of those things. So I was like, hey, however, why wouldn't I be closer to the headquarters? Because my kids will go to the same school as some of the execs, and I should be badged in their office. So, if I'm really going to be that liaison, that's where I should be. And then it goes, but the problem is we're going to have to align you to the New York salary level. I remember saying, and now it feels like a promotion. So that solved the problem. So that's why I'm here. And then,
southwestern Connecticut is basically
correct. And then my wife is from Quebec, and so we were thinking we're 6-hour flight from Belgium, we're 6-hour drive from her family. Quebec, so there was a lot more, reason to be here.
You did not say that the French pronunciation of it, though. Quebec. It's
no, it's Quebec. It's definitely
Quebec. It's Quebec.
It's Quebec. And they do good beers over there too.
Oh, Canada's got some great beers.
One of my favorite breweries is in Montreal. So Montreal. Well, if we're saying Quebec, I'm saying Montreal, right?
There you go. You have to.
Montreal.
Fair enough.
Montreal. It's Duduchiel is one of my faves.
Okay.
Duduchiel.
And of course, Dave was lovely enough to call me when he got to Duduchiel the one time he was in Montreal,
and drank one of his favorite beers. And I called him video. I'm like, exactly what I'm drinking. Oh,
see, I haven't been to Canada since the '80s, and I've only been to one brewery in Canada, and it was shameful.
Sorry,
but I love doing this to John. I love sending him videos or pictures. Like I was at another one of his favorite beers is Aventinus from Schneider. And I was in Munich. The first time I was in Munich, it was actually just a layover on the way over to Italy. And we were able to leave the airport and get into Munich. And we went to Schneider.
How many hours did you have?
And I was
5 hours.
5 hours. And so we got into Munich because it's an hour train ride from the airport in. So we had a couple hours in Munich, and we went to Schneider. And so now mind you, it's like 7 a.m. for him because I'm there for lunch. And I'm drinking Aventinus. I'm drinking it. Tap 6? Yeah. And I took the picture of me drinking an Aventinus with Tap 6, the actual tap, right behind
me. And he sends it to me, and then I sent him back a picture of my middle finger. So
I love doing this.
Mind you, it was 7:30 in the morning when he sent me the picture.
So I will be sending him pictures from Delirium Cafe as well.
You have to.
One of these days, I'm going to take an entire summer off and just go to everywhere he went in Europe.
So 300 beers on tap at the Delirium Cafe, right? I mean, get ready for it.
300 on tap, 2,003 total. It is now Delirium Village with 8 different bars. One of them is a tequila bar. One's a vodka and Trappist.
I can't imagine being in Belgium and drinking tequila. I'm sorry, I just can't.
One's a rum bar.
There's so many other things I'd want to drink in Belgium.
David, if you have an opportunity, ask to visit what they call the fridge. So you have all the lines that go to all the taps and everything in the different locations, but then they have the beer, the fridge where the other 2,000 beers are stored. And
on the shelves.
So if you let them know ahead, It's actually behind one of the bars. It's on the side, but it's an entire house that is converted into a fridge, and that's where they have all the shelves and everything and all the beers. You can ask to visit that. It's better if you come early, because when it's busy, like they don't have the time for that. And they normally never, like, it's not intended to be visited, but you can ask for an exception. It's definitely worth it. Like, you can have the Bible book, which is like, hey, you want to choose and then they give you a 3,000 beer Bible.
Give me a couple hours, I'll let you know what
but
I want. Hold on.
I think it talks to you more if you go visit the fridge.
Yeah.
The one of the other bars they have is an absinthe bar. I don't know if I've got the constitution for that.
2 different days.
I gotta ask, are they all in spray bottles or?
Well, the whole thing now is that Delirium is now called Delirium Village, and it's like this one cul-de-sac. It's like this one alley that opens up, and they now own all the buildings around the cul-de-sac, and they have all these different bars. Some are sub-level, some are street level. I have a feeling that Carrie's going to have to help me back to the hotel.
I've seen her do it before. I'm sure she'll do it again. That's probably one of the times she will.
Yeah, I've already warned her that. Yeah, this is going to be it. So we're on to our fourth pairing now.
All right.
This one is what we call dealer's choice.
I'm doing both. I'm doing both.
So if everything went right, this is the one that should be left.
That is correct.
All right. So this is called a praline. So praline is a combination of hazelnuts and almond. Mm-hmm. The way you do this industrially is you put hazelnuts and almond into an oven, you roast them, and then when they're roasted and beautiful and nutty and cracky and everything, you dump them into a blender and you add some sugar, and then it becomes a paste. That's the wrong way of doing it.
So if you got all that,
that's not.
Don't do that.
No bueno. So the right way of
we're nothing but international on this.
Correct.
Show.
The right way.
Tish, you spoke Spanish.
So the right way of doing it is you should have the sugar with the hazelnuts and the almonds, so that when they sweat, when they're being roasted, the oil of the almonds and the hazelnut is coming out and it's recrystallizing the sugar. So what then happens is that sugar is a lot stronger because it has a different chemical structure, but also the extraction of the oil is actually captured in the sugar. So it doesn't taste sugar, it tastes almond sugar or hazelnut sugar. When that is done, you can crush it into a paste, and then you get like this beautiful crunchy paste, which has a lot more complex flavor. And then most of the recipe you will see online about praline will suggest to take almond and hazelnut without the skin. You lose most of the soul of the product. So it's better to have almonds and hazelnuts that have the skin. You have a different texture as well. And so the hazelnuts we're using are coming from Piedmont, and they are raw. So, you have all those different ways of buying them. They can be salted, roasted, blah, blah, blah. You have them. Yeah, exactly. They're raw, pasteurized. That's the way you want them. And then that preserves the oil, and then the magic happens. So that's what we have here.
So now in the U.S., you're saying praline. We say praline.
Oh, thank you.
But it's different.
Shame on me if I would have forgotten to speak about that.
I'd rather say praline.
But praline is what you're talking about, because what we make here is called praline, and it's typically made with pecans.
Yeah.
And I don't know what process they use. I don't know the process.
It's a shortcut. It's a little bit of a shortcut. Like, you can do it the way in the oven and add the sugar, or roast it with the sugar, but that's what you get from the pecans. No, the irony is that in French, when you describe a bonbon, it's actually called a praline. So praline is a filling, and a praline is the filled chocolate or the bonbon that could have anything inside. So there is, in addition, it's like the macaroons and the macaron, which means different stuff. One is with coconut, and the other one exactly.
I've eaten both. I vastly prefer the macaron.
Yeah.
to
Yes.
Oh yeah, especially when a macaron is done correct.
Exactly.
But I do love coconut, so I like macaroons as well, especially the ones that have the little chocolate on the bottom.
But I prefer coconut shrimp, for example. Just to
that's probably If we were doing a top 3 list later of top 3 uses of coconut, which we're not, right? And I know what yours would be, but my number 1 would be coconut shrimp. But that's besides the point.
There you go. I thank you. All right, so this is praline. So the praline. So when you bite into it, you will get that crunchy right way of doing it.
Before we do this, though, we've got 3 beers on the table that could possibly go with this. So we've got the breakfast stout, we got the KBS, and we got the Chimay Blue. I'm going to go with the Chimay Blue on this.
Yep. I respect that.
I'm doing both. The first one. I'm going to finish with my Trappist Rochefort has been warming, so it's still cool, but it's nice. I'm going to go my first bite with it. I'm going to go with the stout, and then my second bite, I'm going to go with the quad. I want both. I want both experiences.
You will see that the bite that you will have from the chocolate is actually sending you to Europe. There is a lot of the flavors that are Europeans. Okay. So I think you will get different profiles from the pairing.
Fair enough. Do it.
So you get that crunch, the extraction of the hazelnut and the almond.
It just screams nuts. Not that you're nuts. Just
I know a few people that do that.
But that wow, because you really, and what you said, you really can taste the nut skin.
Yeah. And then the crunch.
Oh wow.
And that crunch in there.
Yeah.
The skin is really, you almost expect to have to like peel that skin off the roof of your mouth after
I've gotten
this.
The breakfast stout has just everything that was, because I'm letting it, I take a few bites, I break it up, and then I let it wash over my palate and just sit in my mouth like coating my mouth basically. And then I take my sip. But it's basically all the flavors I was getting just like burst out at me. I'm getting the same, it's not, there's nothing playing a different note or different notes with it, so it's changing the complexity of it. It's just really emphasizing everything that I'm getting. Anyway,
did you try it with the Chimay?
I tried it. That's with just the breakfast out. I'm actually going to try to do 3 bites.
And you, David?
I did it with the Chimay.
I'm going to do 3. I'm going to do another.
Yeah.
What with the Chimay, when I was talking about the phenols earlier, it really not only did it accentuate the phenols in the Chimay, it actually made them astringent.
I got a rush of rose flower. Did you get that? There was a rush of like a flowery. I don't know.
That's with the Chimay, right?
Yeah, it's really removed almost like the entire body of the Chimay and just had like.
It did.
I'm going to do a small bite, and I'm going to do the bourbon wash.
The bourbon, okay.
And then the last bigger bite I'll do with the quad.
So I'm going to cheat a little bit, because Benoit was kind enough to send us 2 of these. So I'm going to finish off the first one with the Chimay, but I have another one of them, and I'm going to do that with the KBS. So let me finish off the Chimay and see if I get that rose. So is it a rose water or just like a rose petal?
And I had a small sip of the Chimay.
I got to tell you. Now, when we had the last one, the salted caramel, as good as it was with the breakfast stout, it was ridiculously fantastic with that bourbon wash with the breakfast stout. So, i.e., what you were getting out of the KBS, right? This one, I got to tell you, it's good. I prefer just the breakfast stout to it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. The bourbon didn't play any. It didn't do anything. It muted what I was getting out of the.
You know why?
Stout.
Because they're too similar. There is toasted, there is nutty all of what the bourbon adds to the beer is kind
Yeah.
of in the chocolate. And then what you would reveal by differentiation would be like pastry, cream, vanilla, but all of that is already in there, so it doesn't come out.
Right. There you go. And Brian just said, he goes, unfortunately, had to share half the chocolate with my wife. I should have ordered 2 of the samplers.
That's just bad planning right there, Brian. You missed the what he said before that.
No, I did. You're right.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
I apologize. Jan approves of the chocolates. Guess we have to visit the store. Let me know when you're going, Brian, because the 4 of us four of us, the 6 of us will go.
Yeah, there we go. So I did what you said, Benoit. I get that rose.
You got
petal.
it right.
Not the mouthfeel of rose petal, because rose petal to me is more mouthfeel than flavor, because it's such a subtle flavor of rose. So to me, when rose petal's in something, I really look more for the mouthfeel. If it's not the mouthfeel, it's the flavor you're talking about. The weird thing that I got out of it is that the Chimay took those nuts and almost made them almost peanutty in flavor, more than that hazelnut and almond.
Yes.
So that was pretty interesting.
For me, it speaks to the complexity of the Chimay.
Yeah,
right.
Yes.
It exactly is like, the first taste would be like, okay, I get some beautiful roasted nuts, and then you realize, well, when you compare it next to each other, it actually is on a different palate.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's funny because now I went back to.
I'm just reacclimating my mouth. My palate to the quad.
So I took another bite of the chocolate, and now it's back to hazelnut, and the almond in there. Almond steps out of the way of hazelnut. Hazelnut's got this.
Yeah, it's 60% hazelnut, 40% almonds.
Mm-hmm.
So
and now I'm doing it with the KBS.
I like it a lot personally with the KBS. I think it's like they're completing each other. So there is not like a spectacular different outcome. It's just reinforcing each other.
They are really good. The nuts are fighting against not being drowned by the alcohol sex.
You know what? And I got to tell you. Now I can't. Can't be super knowledgeable on how it tastes with the KBS, right? Because I was just mimicking it with the bourbon wash and then drinking the breakfast stout. But I definitely did like it a lot more with just the breakfast stout.
Mm-hmm. For that reason,
yes, yeah. I'm gonna do the quad now. Continue, Dave. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do the quad now.
I have to go quickly turn off the alarm.
Go for it.
I will be right back.
I'll wait. There. Go ahead.
He's got a timer on that.
Important. Yeah.
Go for it.
But we're sitting here, so we sit here and we've got all these comments from Brian, and he's tasting the chocolates and the beer, and his wife's tasting.
I'm gonna leave his last comment for when Benoit gets back.
But the point is, these chocolates, if you've not had them, to have a Belgian chocolatier in the United States doing the same quality level that they do in Belgium,
absolutely,
and producing here, take advantage of this.
Absolutely.
Take advantage that you can order from a Belgian master chocolatier in Fairfield, Connecticut, while you're dragging your feet on what to get for Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Anybody listening to this is coming across and you still have time to order it for Valentine's Day, do this. Don't go, look, nothing against Russell Stover, because those heart-shaped things are pretty cool and they have things in it. And it's easy. It's right there. You get it. You go home. It's gone. It's done. Order this. Order this.
Yeah. If you love her, get this.
Order this. And
otherwise, you're just phoning it in.
And I'll repeat it. I'll repeat it again when Benoit gets back. You're literally, and Benoit's back, so I'll say it. But on that note, definitely order this. And with Benoit now back listening, Brian just commented. He said she doesn't know. He's talking about Jan, his wife. She doesn't know I ordered the dark chocolate sampler for her for Valentine's Day. She's clearly not watching the show right now either.
Why would she? He knows he's safe.
There you go.
No, I'm loving this pairing. John,
Yes.
of the pairings we did.
Hold on, I got to do the quad. I got to do the quad one with this too. I still got the other half of this. So.
Okay, so finish that, but I'm going to ask you what your favorite pairing was.
Amazing. So good. Talk. Somebody talk.
Oh, we're just listening to you respond.
Yeah,
That's
we're tasting.
And that is interesting in itself.
I get that rose petal too with the quad.
That's amazing, right?
But I love how the KBS turns the hazelnut to peanut. It's I didn't expect that at all.
It didn't do it for me with the breakfast stout. That's what it did. It accentuated the hazelnut and the almonds.
I really think it's that wood in the element of the KBS.
Yeah, that would make sense.
That turns it to peanut.
Yeah. That was fantastic.
That was amazing.
It was. Okay. Your question, Kat.
I already asked you what was your favorite pairing?
I just want you to restate it before I.
Oh, okay. I see.
I just finished my quad. I just wanted you to do that while I took the last sip of the quad. So it's such a good quad. Anybody out there, if you've never had Trappist Rochefort,
that's my favorite quad right there.
10, especially the quad. Get this.
Yep.
Singles only. You're not going to find if you find a 4-pack of it, let me know where they sell a 4-pack of it. All right.
Yeah.
But 6 and 8 are fantastic too.
Yeah,
6
I was going to say
6 and 8 are fantastic. 10 is my favorite, but 6 and 8 are fantastic.
Same here. Favorite
pairing,
John
is amazing. Orval, they're all good. Trappist Rochefort.
Orval. Here's the thing about Orval, though. Never let Orval warm up.
Yeah.
You have to drink Orval cold. Orval
doesn't have to be frozen.
No, not frozen. Not ice cold. It has to be cold. Orval, what I love about Orval is Orval's got a nice citrus note to it in that background that I think brightens the whole beer. If you let it warm up a little bit, that citrus almost becomes oily. Not a fan of Orval warmed up, but cold it's one of my favorite Trappist beers.
So I'm actually checking because my knowledge about Orval is you don't put it in the fridge. So
really,
yes,
for me, it's the other way around.
Yes, so I don't know if I might be totally wrong, right?
No. There might be.
Well, here's the thing. He's referring to cellar temperature, right? When he means warm up, he means like room temperature. You don't want to drink it when it's warm.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to drink it at 38 degrees. You want to drink it at like cellar temperature. You want to drink it at like 45,
42,
48, 45.
But there might be a range between straight up non-refrigerated and straight up cold. Right in the middle sometimes. That could be awful, where the two ends could be good.
Right. Yeah, you got to find the happy medium and what your palate wants to eat as well, right?
As well.
Which we call it. She said, Brian just said, she's near me and knows some of the comments I say. I'm hoping she doesn't. If you wanted to keep it a secret, I'm hoping she doesn't know that one comment you said. But yeah. And he said he did say Russell Stover's anyone can get. This is special shit. He said
it is special.
It's 100%. Dave, to answer your question, I would say the salted caramel with the KBS. So for me, it was the bourbon wash with the breakfast stout, but that note, that was probably my favorite. I loved every single one we did tonight, but that one was probably my favorite.
I think the one that I loved the most was the Biscoff and Chimay. It was amazing. That pop.
Yeah, that pop was
you know me, John. I've traveled a bit.
A little bit.
I've drank a few things.
A little bit.
I've eaten a few things.
A little bit.
I explore.
A little bit.
I'm brave when it comes to eating and drinking things. So when when you get something that makes you go, whoa.
Right.
Those are the special moments. And that Biscoff and that Chimay, that pop, that to me, those are the moments where this is something I've not experienced before. and I absolutely loved that.
Yeah, that was a close second for me.
Yeah.
That was probably if I had to give my 1 and 2 or my 1 and 1A, that would be
there you go.
Same for me. Same for me. I think the Chimay and the Biscoff was a good reminder of how well it works. But I have to say that the salted caramel and the KBS, that they're both next to each other exactly in the same lane and still totally, expand like that. That was and the salt. I think nobody would suggest to add salt to a KBS, right? This is so opposite to where it's actually trying to go.
You would think, right? Exactly.
Right.
But it works. It works so well.
Yes.
So well.
Well, the thing is, a lot of people don't understand how salt actually works. So I don't know if you know, John and I actually do another podcast with a friend of ours, Tom Mulvihill, called Anna Chaser. And every now and we like to invent cocktails on this show.
Okay.
And every now and then I'll make a cocktail.
Cocktail book coming the end of the year, by the way.
Oh yeah, we're going to do a cocktail recipe book. But every now and then I'll have a cocktail like it's really, really close. It's missing something. And sometimes it's a pinch of salt. Mm-hmm. Adding a pinch of salt to a cocktail is one of the more underrated things that is done out there.
It depends on the cocktail, but if you make a saline solution, right? Just put salt water. Just put salt and water. Put it in a dropper. Right,
drop it in,
and put 2 or 3 drops of saline in any cocktail. Not any cocktail, but depending on the cocktail. But most cocktails, all it's going to do is pop everything that's in that drink.
I've seen cocktails made where they've got like a charred round of blood orange. This is a Negroni, by the way, where they floated that round of blood orange on the top, and they sprinkled some sea salt on top of it. And
on the charred round of blood orange.
And the point was, they wanted you to taste the cocktail without the salt first. Then they wanted you to dunk the blood orange and stir it to let the salt come in to taste the difference that the salt made to the cocktail. So, and this is the whole point with salted caramel, is that juxtaposition of sweet and salty. And how you rendered it, Benoit, was fantastic because it was not just a sweet and salty, but you've got almost an edamame out of that. Yeah. The way you treated that butter.
Yeah, the butter changed the whole profile.
Oh yeah.
We initially the recipe was developed without that butter. It was just like a good caramel, and then I came across that butter and I was like, what if? And so when we tried it, we were like, oh my God. But it was already really good before.
There's a lot of good things that come out of Vermont. And that's definitely
correct.
One of the top.
Correct.
Between the beer, the butter, the cheese,
yes.
A lot of stuff. And the maple syrup.
And for the people on the podcast also, we do have a blood orange chocolate. It scores also really, really well because it's a double blood orange. So it's a blood orange which is distilled from Valencia, and we use that extract, so to speak. It's just distilled 100% alcohol with a orange extract as well. So you have a double flavor of the skin oil and the blood orange distilled with the dark chocolate. So you explore the entire orange. But when you combine with not necessarily beers, but now that we just mentioned it, I'm thinking about it, like it's probably one of those that you want to request into any pairing tasting fun box for a lot of other products because it can combine or contrast. And that's another one next to, we mentioned the Black Forest earlier, but blood orange is definitely a kind of a little bit of a magical. It's not the bitters. It's not, it's good. So definitely, and it's a dark chocolate one.
I can see that going with a really good meaty red wine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Correct. Yes, exactly.
Oof, beautiful.
Exactly.
Blood orange is one of my favorite things. But the surprise I got out of that pairing that I love so much, the Chimay, along with the Biscoff cookie. I love when a pairing really surprises you. One of my favorite pairings I ever had really shocked me because I saw it on the menu. It was at a beer dinner at one of our favorite places.
Wait, hold on. You were at a beer dinner?
That was a beer dinner.
Who does that?
Cloverleaf Tavern had a beer dinner, and a couple of our breweries that are friends of ours. One of them, and there was two of them together that were doing it. This was one of them. Cane Brewing. Carton was there as well. But dessert, Carton decided to pair a. No, it was Cane. It was Cane decided to pair.
I know you're talking about Cane did it. Yeah.
Yeah, Cane. Their Overhead IPA. It's got a really good citrusy, piney, dank note to it, and they paired it with carrot cake.
Absolutely.
And it was just perfect. It was just absolutely amazing what it did to it. So, anybody who's watching, explore these flavor combinations between what you're drinking and what you're eating. To begin with, there's nothing wrong. Explore. You're going to find what's wrong. You're going to find what's right for you. And Benoit has taught us quite a bit here as to, because there's certain things that I probably would not have thought to put together, but Benoit has taught us a few things here.
Absolutely. This was definitely a masterclass in chocolate and beer pairing, but definitely in chocolate.
Oh
making
yeah.
In and
well, he is a master chocolatier, so how would
it always sounds great.
how would you expect anything less?
So we do have that little poll about the favorite chocolate dessert.
Oh yeah,
I've been running that in the back of my mind.
Yeah, we're going to do that. We actually should do that. I was just about to say let's move
on to the top threes.
Our top three list tonight, as if you haven't guessed already, is top three. Let me get to it here. Top three chocolate desserts.
You want to say that again, like
top
so slurred so much?
Top three chocolate desserts.
Favorite chocolate desserts. Yeah.
Top three favorite chocolate desserts.
Top three.
Top three favorite chocolate desserts.
Is that something you should say every morning 10 times in the mirror?
It's a daily affirmation.
It's the day going. It's the day going.
To assess.
Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me.
Oh, Mr. Smiley. Smalley.
Yeah. What I forget his first name. I was Al Franken. But,
it was Al Franken, yeah. He became a senator.
Senator, yeah. Yeah.
At any rate,
and he was in Trading Places, but that's besides the point.
Another thing.
So I think I will need a visual support for one of my answers.
Please go for it. So obviously, Benoit, please start us off. Top three favorite chocolate desserts. Benoit, your top three is first, please. There you go.
Okay, so a really, really well done chocolate mousse. Like people who can do a really good chocolate mousse, like when you really take the time to actually get the egg whites, the right way. You have the melted chocolate in it, and you just
fold it properly.
Fold it in, and then you take the time to have the butter, cooling down in the fridge, and then your chocolate mousse is just the way it should be. There is a lot of love to get to the result.
Oh yes,
but you can immediately see how much love or disdain was put into it when you get to the end result.
Disdain, love that word.
So that's the first one. The second one, maybe.
Now, are you going 3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 3?
I think.
Up to you. I do 3, 2, 1.
No. That's a good question. I think I'm going the 3 to the top one. So this is number 3. Number 2 would be lava cake.
Chocolate lava cake.
There is many ways to actually pretend that you do a lava cake. You can have the cake around. You can have melted chocolate in the middle. All of that is actually not a real recipe of a lava cake. Normally, a lava cake is actually the same recipe from outside and in. And when you cut it, the center is not cooked, but the outside is exactly the same texture and preparation of the outside. Requires an oven at the right temperature. It requires the right aluminum foil around it. So there is some level of technique and then some right products to it. I think a really good lava cake is magical. And then
if you're in a restaurant and they offer lava cake and they don't ask you to order it when you order your appetizers, you're in the wrong restaurant. Don't order the lava cake.
You get a frozen lava cake, which
Yes.
the middle is going to melt when the rest is cooked, but that's not the recipe.
Nope.
I agree. And then the third one, I'm trying to get a visual, is a hot chocolate dessert, which is served in a glass because it's a hot chocolate with some whipped cream, a branch of rosemary, and then rosemary, and then poured over not absinthe, I blank on the name, chartreuse. So you can flambe chartreuse and pour that.
Green or yellow?
Yeah, the green one.
Green one.
In this case, it's the green one. And then what happens is that the rosemary catches fire with the chartreuse, but some of the chartreuse mixes into the hot chocolate with the whipped cream. That there is something magical there. So for me, that's the number one dessert.
That's a whole different level.
and I'm trying to get a visual because it exists. It's not just in my own imagination. It's actually real. So if I can, I will also share a visual.
Oh yeah, definitely want to see that.
Please do, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. I don't see it right now, so we're gonna have to put that in the
So
comments.
Look for it while I'm going.
Yeah.
While I go through mine. So you mentioned two of mine actually. So my honorable mention was the lava cake. When lava cake is done properly.
Absolutely.
My number 3 is mousse. When mousse is, so I'll change it because.
You don't have to change it. It is what it is.
No. Because here's the thing. I'm one of those people who is very much can be high end, but also very low end as well. Like, let's face it, one of my favorite lunch meats is prosciutto, but I also love liverwurst.
I was going to say the same.
But I also love liver. So
I want prosciutto with imported dried Italian sausage and capicola and mortadella and everything else. But I also want a liverwurst and onion and mustard sandwich on rye.
Yeah, exactly. But when it comes to prosciutto, I prefer San Daniele to De Parma, by the way.
San Daniele is much better.
Oh, San Daniele is fantastic. So when it comes to like a chocolate mousse, I'm also a huge fan of just plain up chocolate pudding.
So you're changing mousse to pudding.
Because sometimes the cheaper the better. There was one time I worked at a nightclub, and the runner and
Belmar, right over
here. Actually, little just across the river in Neptune.
Right.
Yep, in Neptune, and we had one of those big industrial cans of chocolate pudding.
Of course.
And the runner and I were back, and we're hitting the larder, and we just opened a can. He gives me a spoon, so I'm eating it out of that big, massive can.
Number 10 can kind of thing.
Yeah, number 10 can. And he shockingly looked up at me when the spoon scraped the bottom. I went through about 5 pounds of chocolate pudding. So,
by the way, there's 8 pounds in a number 10 can.
Oh, because there was 8 pounds. So it was 8 pounds. I ate pounds of chocolate. But at the time I was a valet parker, all I did was run all night long, so I burnt it off real quickly. So if I were to do that now, I'd be dead. At any rate, so that's my number 3.
You were also 20 years old when you did this, so
19. It's very, very close.
Yeah.
So yeah, chocolate pudding. Put that down as my number 3. My number 2. And anytime I see this on a menu in a reputable restaurant, and only a reputable restaurant would carry this anyway, chocolate pot de crème.
Pot de crème.
Or as Americans would call it, pot de crème. Pasta cream. Chocolate pot de crème, when done properly, is light, it's fluffy, it is rich. I don't know how you can be fluffy and rich at the same time, but pot de crème done properly is both. It is just one of my favorite desserts that you can have. But my number one is very, very specific, and we mentioned them earlier, and that's Ghirardelli. Carrie and I were in San Francisco last year. We went to Ghirardelli Square, and we went to the ice cream shop, and I had the Ghirardelli chocolate brownie hot fudge sundae. And so when you have something like this, when you've got hot fudge and you've got brownie, it has to be vanilla ice cream. You need that juxtaposition. You need the vanilla ice cream has to be the vehicle. And it's just a masterpiece. It really is. They really know how to do these things there. Love them to death. We're going to be going back to San Francisco in September, and yes, I will be hanging out with Kevy while we're there.
You see his post today? It's his anniversary with his wife.
Oh no, I missed it. I gotta wish him a happy anniversary.
1 year, 1 year.
Not too late.
Oh, that's beautiful.
He's been on the show since he was
engaged.
Engaged, yeah.
He referred to his fiance, now it's wife. So I gotta reach out to him. But no, we'll be getting. I guarantee you, we'll be getting back to Ghirardelli Square while we're there, because that was one of my favorite chocolate desserts ever.
So I found the visual.
Oh,
go for it!
Awesome.
Right. So I think the camera can adjust. So so this is what it looks like.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so you see, and then this is the chartreuse.
Oh wow! So they
and
flambe
then
it
you have the rosemary and and then that's how you.
And they just pour it over it. Oh my god, I want that.
Yes,
I want that right now. Where am I going?
That's.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah. Good luck getting
it. Tell me where. All right, where was that? Where was that?
So that was at the top of a hill in Quebec, in the Massif, which is like a ski facility.
That's not a bad thing. So
no,
just let me know where it is. I will go.
Once you're there,
I will go. I will tough it. I will go ski all day.
Yeah,
and then I will go have that.
But yes, that's
four or five of them. Yes.
yeah, and honestly, you can just have dinner with that. So, just dessert. This is absolutely fine and okay.
Skip dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Just
life is short. Go straight to dinner.
Absolutely.
You gotta love it. Hold on, I gotta write that down as an possible open.
Yep.
I have 6 possible opens. We only can use one. So.
Awesome.
There you go. I'll just put skiing.
Well, you write that. I'm going to take while you write that.
I want because
I do this a lot when it's his turn.
When it's my turn to go with my top 3, he goes to the bathroom. That's
okay. That's kind of the cue.
Skiing in Quebec.
Yeah, it's Le Massif.
Le Massif.
That place, that restaurant is called Camp Boule, CAMP, like a camp, and then Boule. It's the name of one of the slopes. So Camp Boule, Boule, Camp Boule, and it's kind of a gourmet. CAMP, so camp, like CMP. A camp,
right?
And then Boule, another word, Boule, Boule,
right? Boule, yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of a gourmet restaurant at the top of the hill when the hill is closed. So you believe it's just the opposite of Aspen.
So now what do you do? Are you taking the chairlift up to it, eating, and then taking the chairlift back down?
No. It's actually that's the point. There is a parking lot, and you're in the middle of all the machines.
Well, at the top.
Yes.
Okay.
But there is a road that goes there, and then you're in the middle of all the equipment that is grooming all the slopes. So you're next to a hangar. You go there when you don't want to be seen, but it's actually an amazing gourmet restaurant with open kitchen, open fire. They have like an open fire to grill stuff. So you have to know, but you don't go there to be seen. And they have this type of dessert.
That's absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to get there. Yeah.
And I think they must be open in the summer, so you don't have to brave the snow to
I want to brave the snow. Yeah.
The value is exactly.
Yeah, no,
yeah. John doesn't like his knees. He likes to ski.
Okay.
Exactly. I've torn up this knee skiing, and walking too. But that's besides the point. But yeah.
Actually, and if I may, I have a small parenthesis because I don't want to list it as one of my top chocolate dessert. But when you come over to the store, we have an ice cream which is with our rosemary raspberry ganache in it.
Ooh.
I wouldn't qualify it as a chocolate dessert, but for me, what you were referring to earlier, David, with the ice cream at the Ghirardelli Square. There is probably something there that is not necessarily a chocolate dessert, but it's definitely a dessert with chocolate that is worth exploring. So
That's
as a
what's-
small little parenthesis, not for the list.
That's
Fair
a
enough.
chocolate dessert. We'll call it. We'll call it. What do we call those, John?
The outlier.
Honorable mention.
Honorable mention.
Honorable
Honorable
What we call them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you did some filler, so I didn't miss your 3.
100%.
Awesome.
We talked about the restaurant that
Where that little
rosemary and green chartreuse drink is
up outside of Quebec.
in Quebec,
Yeah.
La Massif, at Camboule.
Camboule is the
Camboule
name.
is
Yeah.
the name of the restaurant, and I will get there because
You
I'm
have to.
having that. I don't care if I drive to Quebec to have that and then drive home. I'm going there.
Well, if you go to Quebec, the one thing about Quebec is Quebec lately has been a bastion in Canada of really creative cocktails.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Montreal is more of the beer city, Quebec is more of a cocktail
city. Right,
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. So my top 3s are, I got 2 honorable mentions only because I moved things around because of some things that the 2 of you mentioned.
Pre-mentioned, yes.
Right. So my number 1 honorable mention is chocolate mousse.
Yeah.
All right.
Number 1 being number 3 or number 1?
No.
Because
My
honorable mention.
honorable mention. My first. I shouldn't say number 1. My first honorable mention.
Yeah.
I have 2.
You got a couple.
Is chocolate mousse. My second one is it's nothing that you've mentioned. It's something my mother used to make for me and my sister and anybody else that ate it years ago, and that's icebox cake. Okay, an icebox cake is chocolate pudding with graham crackers and bananas. So it's a bed of graham crackers, chocolate pudding, and then sliced bananas on top of it. You put it in the fridge. It gets cold. You cut it up and you eat it. That's icebox.
That's
cake.
nice. That's nice.
Right.
And
So
full of memories.
Just
Right.
yeah, those
It's a memory
memories.
thing. It's a memory thing for me. It's a memory thing for me. All right, but my top 3 are this. All right, here we go. Number 3, chocolate cheesecake. I'm a huge cheesecake fan, but if you mix chocolate in with the cheesecake and then coat the top of it with more chocolate, I'm in.
I just had some chocolate cheesecake, actually from Manja, right around the corner from where I work.
Sure.
Manja's
great. I love Manja.
On Chocolate Cake Day, the last week and a half ago, actually.
Love
Lovely.
Manja.
Yeah.
There's only one place I've eaten at more than Manja in that area, and that's in Madison Square Park, and that's burger place, Shake Shack.
It is Shake Shack. It's called.
I think it's called.
I'm familiar with it because my office is right there, and if Chris is still listening, he knows. He knows Manja. I think Chris may have eaten at Manja almost every day that he was there.
Remember, I had an office on Broadway and 18th for years too, so not too far. So anyway, so that's my number 3. My number 2, a chocolate cannoli.
Ah,
All right.
I'm a more purist when it comes to cannolis.
No, I'm a purist when it comes to cannolis too. But the only one that I will.
Where is the chocolate? Is wrapped around the shell?
No.
both
It's just
sides.
it's the chocolate in the chocolate in the
cream
in the mascarpone, right?
Okay.
But it's also the shell is not just your regular shell; it's a chocolate shell, and it's got the chocolate around it too. Okay.
on both extremities, right?
Right, exactly.
That to me, no offense, this is where John and I will differ, because to me, that's an abomination.
No. It's see, here's the thing. I consider it different. It's not, if I just want a cannoli, right? I'm eating a cannoli.
You're going to Boston, getting it out that window.
I'm not going to Mike's, by the way. I'm going to Modern or Bova's. I'm not going to Mike's, because everybody that goes to Boston and doesn't from Boston
is lined up at that window.
It's going down to Mike's, right? I'm going to Modern, which I loved it years ago when I went. I'm on Hanover Street, and no one knew about my. Everybody went to Mike's, and I'm going back 10, 15, 20 years, whatever. No one knew about Modern, so you walk in, get whatever you want, walk out.
Now they all know about it, because
now everybody knows about Mike's.
Because John's got a big mouth.
I do. But you go up the side street, you go to Bova's. Bova's is amazing too.
Do they also have tea?
Bova's is open 24 hours. You can go get a cannoli and a sandwich and everything else you want at 5 a.m. if you want.
I don't want boba tea.
But you see what's interesting
not
about
this
conversation. What's interesting about this conversation is, David, your reference about cannoli totally different from John, And when you brand a product with a name, there is different expectations.
100%.
Right, and it's exactly what your what the conversation here is.
For me in this
telling us.
conversation, in this context, a cannoli and a chocolate cannoli are two different things.
To me, a cannoli is a cannoli and should only be a
I'm
cannoli.
on David's side.
So you know what? I get
it.
it, but if you want to call it something else, give it another name.
It should have
I'm all about being a purist and everything else.
John
I love
cannoli,
regular cannoli,
or
but
the
yes,
chocolate cannoli.
just
rationalize all you
a
want.
chocolati, whatever you want to call it.
There you go.
A chocolate shell around chocolate chip mascarpone. There you go. Call it that, right?
There you go.
All right.
And my number one,
drum roll.
Just a good old fudge brownie.
There's
when it's well done.
When it's well done. I'm not opening up.
No. I'm going to differ with that. It should never be well done. It should be undercooked.
when it's prepared correctly.
Correct.
It should be slightly undercooked so that the middle of it is still.
But what I mean by that is, I'm not talking about opening up a Lance's chocolate fudge brownie and eating it. I'm talking about a well prepared chocolate fudge brownie.
So, question to both of you: brownies, nuts, no nuts?
Depends on my mood. Usually no nuts, but depends on my mood. Sometimes I want the nuts in there.
No nuts. No, I'm with Benoit here. No nuts.
I said usually no nut. We're all in agreement. Sometimes I'm in a mood. I want a couple nuts, but
when you do want nuts in your mouth, in your brownie, what's your preferred nut in your brownie? Peanut, pecan,
walnut.
Really?
Yeah, for me, walnut. Yeah.
The only one that I would ever accept, maybe possibly, might be pecan, but I don't want nuts in my brownie.
No. I mean, like I said, usually no nuts, but there are occasions where my palate wants a couple of nuts in it. You know, or at least maybe not in it, but on top. You know, like I get that crunch on the top of my palate, but it's clean underneath. Kind of.
The only thing I would accept is that if there is a little bit of whipped cream and then maybe sliver almond roasted, that would be as far as I would go. But no, like brownie, no nuts.
The only time that I've accepted nuts in a brownie is when it was part of a brownie sundae.
Anybody just tuned into this just now?
But no, if it's in a brownie sundae.
Yeah.
And you've got either pecans. I'm not a big walnut fan. I'll admit that right now. Walnuts to me taste like dirt.
I love walnuts. I do. I'm a big walnut fan.
I'm not a big walnut fan.
I like. See, there's not really one nut that I dislike. Yeah, I'm a big. I love.
You like both left and right. Okay.
I love both nuts.
but you know, like this new revelation is also the Dubai bar. What
is this?
You know, with this pistachio.
Pistachios, yes.
The pistachio is now on a whole new different level of, get back. You see pistachio and then you see nuts, but when you think about nuts, you don't think, pistachio is part, like what comes mentally in your reference model.
I have seen so much usage of pistachios now in so many different things, more than ever before. It's ridiculous.
There's a good reason for it,
and it's good. I mean, I love pistachio. I said, I love nuts. I love.
But people forgot,
again, if somebody just tuned in and I said, I love nuts. There you
go. But it's like we have a pistachio ice cream. It's not green. You need to have a coloration. Exactly. But when you go back, you reconnect to the actual taste of pistachio and just the product. It's phenomenal.
It really is.
It really is. Like there is a pleasure to have, munch on pistachio and then have that, pre-processed for you as a paste inside the chocolate or inside that. Actually, the Dubai bar makes a lot of sense.
Have you had it, Benoit?
So yes, but we do a different version because it's kind of a trend, and we don't define ourselves as I love to set trends on a few things. Like I think we created a few things, but I don't want to be like a follower. So we have a Belgian version of the Dubai bar, which uses Rice Krispies instead of the crunchy, and it's actually lighter. So it goes really well. I think we have some of them on the shelves over there, but yeah.
I'm getting the car now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave, give me an hour to get to you, and then we'll.
Yeah, it's on Google Map.
I got a couple comments here. Brian Boak said Jan's top 3 is chocolate lava cake with vanilla ice cream, chocolate ice cream, and chocolate puddings. There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Chris commented in. He said you also have to try the Belgian waffles at BE Chocolat in Fairfield with melted chocolate and on. He said BE Chocolat, not BE Chocolat.
Yeah.
In Fairfield,
what happened there?
with melted chocolate on it and whipped cream.
I feel vindicated now because.
So for all intents and purposes, we'll give him a pass because it could have been autocorrect.
That's what happened to me when I first posted up our show about this. I spelled chocolate. I actually spelled it without the E. Right. Autocorrect put the E on.
I did it. Yeah.
But at least I knew to put the B and I made the E capitalized. Chris, shame on you.
Correct. There's like so many.
But then again, I did spell Benoit's last name wrong.
But you're right. The waffles.
No, it was autocorrect. It just changed it to Racquet. Right?
No, that was just me. I'm not using any excuses.
And then Brian also said no nuts
for brownies.
In the brownies. Yep. Yeah.
All right. Benoit, tell us about you're opening up a couple of places. Are you not?
Yes. So we're chocolate is always about expanding the love. So we were inside the Delamar in Greenwich, which was a great experience because it's like a luxury environment. We've been featured for those pairings into Condé Nast, Traveler, and Forbes.
That's awesome.
Greenwich was fantastic. So we decided to go a little bit further into Greenwich, and so now we're opening like a full store into a florist which is close to the main, what they call the main avenue in Greenwich. Sure. And so we're opening inside McArdle's. It's a florist where the flowers are, I've never seen that even in Europe. They're sorted
like
by
an exchange.
color.
It's an exchange, right?
It's a place where all the gerbera and the lilac and the roses and whatever flower you like, all the whites are together, the pinks are together, the reds are together. So it's like Party City, but version of a version of, you know what I mean, right? And so
exactly.
This is the way I want to shop for my flowers. Like I would like a yellow, or so that's how they're structured. And they have a space there where we're gonna have a shelf with all the Valentine's gift, and then a fridge where you can select the chocolate. So if you want just a box of the Biscoff that we've done, or just you can pick and choose what goes into your box. And so we're expanding there in Greenwich, and I think it's going to be phenomenal.
And that's one location. Is there? I thought there's a second location that you were.
Yes, there is another one which is called the J House. So the J House is a craft cocktail place and restaurant, and then they have a hotel as well. And we will be featured into their experience corner. There is an agreement with the spa, and then we will be in the morning breakfast corner with our chocolates. We think they're going to do the waffles, and then people can walk in and buy the chocolates as well.
And where is that?
So that's close to what they call Riverside. So compared to where Greenwich is it's on the Stamford side of Greenwich.
Greenwich,
yeah. That location is more, I think, going to be like business relationships and business gifts, and the hotel, the dinners and everything. While the other one is more like the traditional family business, and it's looking more like a shop. So the J House is going to be more experience. And then the other one, the McArdle, is going to be more like where you go to buy your gift, design what you want, do your projects and everything. Retail, yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. That's great. That's awesome. Well, we'll definitely be making a pilgrimage at some point. Hopefully sooner than later, but we'll get up there. And we'll of course let you know before we come up.
Full disclosure. So I could turn the camera, but where the store is, on the other side of the parking lot, by design, we have a wine store. So we never ran out of anything. Like whenever we did a party that was scheduled or not scheduled, or people show up and they say, "I'm sorry,
Right
I'm
across the
showing up,
street.
I'm
Right there.
showing up empty-handed." We're like, "No problem, buddy. The store is right there." So we never had any issue for any supplies.
Oh, we
So,
promise you we will not show up empty-handed.
no,
Right.
I wouldn't pretend they have everything you would bring. I know you have better treasures that they have as a plan B. Absolutely.
Yeah, if we ever come to visit you, our aim is to impress you with what we bring.
Perfect.
So
I'm
we got
happy
fun.
to return the favor.
Absolutely.
So yes,
The one
absolutely.
thing, so really, thank you so much for doing this. This has been absolutely amazing, revelatory in these flavor profiles, the pairings. But the one thing I want to say is that we do the live video, which we're doing that right now, aren't we?
Right.
Yeah, we're doing this right now. So we do the live video. The video will stay up on Facebook and YouTube. Does it stay on Twitch, John?
It stays on Twitch for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks. And then it drops. But then it also turns.
You can always watch it. You can always watch it on Facebook and YouTube.
But there's also the audio portion of it as well. So if you're listening to this and you want to do what we did on the show, Benoit, how long will the Lager Room Guys pack be live on BE Chocolat's website?
Oh, there is no reason for us to turn it off.
Okay, so anybody who's watching, anybody who's listening after the fact, if you want to follow along, do what we do, and taste what we tasted, when you go onto the website, go to the what's the 4-pack called?
It's called the Be Selfish.
Be Selfish.
There is a little bit anecdote of that. It's actually when we had customers. So we're BE Chocolat, which is like you can be cool, you can be kind, you can be chocolat.
It's also Belgian and Benoit.
And a reference to Belgium and Benoit. And so we had the box that was the Be Curious, which is 6 chocolate, the Be Generous, which is 15. And then there was a customer who came back and she said, "I bought your Be Generous for my friend, and those fuckers, they did not even share the chocolate with us. I don't even know if your chocolate is good. So I love your Be Generous, Be Curious, and everything, but I need a Be Selfish. You should have a box of 4 that I buy for me when I'm being generous for others." And so that's what created the box of 4. The Be Selfish. And so the tasting here is made of the Be Selfish. So if you go on the website, you search Be Selfish, Lager Room Guys, and then it will show up. It's easy to find. Awesome. And that's where the box is referenced. And as long as those beers exist, the box shall exist.
And none of these beers are going anywhere.
None of these beers are going anywhere.
But I think we're on the safe plan.
Exactly.
And we implore you that if you do go on and you order the Be Selfish Lager Room Guys pack, order more. The stuff that Benoit's got on there is absolutely amazing.
Order the Be Selfish. Order a couple of the Be Selfish, and then order
a couple
others.
of Be Selfish,
and then order others.
Order others. For the holidays, I did order the Santa Clauses that you had.
Yeah.
No, they weren't Santa Clauses. St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas, because it's not.
You did.
Right, I said it wrong. It's the St. Nicholas. And I ordered like 4 of the dark chocolate, 4 of the milk chocolate, and spread those out for the holidays. And everyone who had them, like, where did you get this? This is really good chocolate. It's like, yeah, because it's Belgian chocolate. And it's funny because when Chris and I worked together in the office, anytime I brought up anything about American chocolate, he'd pull a face and goes, "Belgian chocolate's so much better." So much better.
Yeah. We get a lot of that feedback from customers who are like, "Hey, since I tried yours, I actually do the little detour. I hope one day Belgian chocolate will be as accessible as the rest," because again, it's a question of access. It's not a question of choice. Right. So a lot of our customers have a kitchen drawer. We learned that. That was never part of any marketing plan. We just sharing feedback here. And so they have a kitchen drawer where you have a bunch of bars, a couple of pralines and everything. And then
I don't have that.
Their friends
I need
know.
That.
Yeah, their friends know where the kitchen drawer is with the chocolate inside. And I think we're changing the habits of the entire population around us in how they gift. and then how they buy chocolate. So
And
hopefully we spread further.
And Benoit just proved that he's not from Jersey because drawer had 2 syllables.
Drawer.
In New Jersey, it's got 1 syllable.
Drawer.
It's a
Drawer.
draw. It's
Drawer.
a draw.
Drawer.
Yeah. There's an R at the end of it, sort of.
Drawer.
One shot.
Drawer.
Yeah.
This
I got it in a drawer over there.
Yeah, it's in that drawer.
In that drawer.
We agree. I learned English from books that were printed in UK. So the first time I asked for water, people were wondering what I wanted. So
well, when you remember you're going to go to Philly, you got to ask for water.
Water. It's
Water.
WUTTER. In Jersey,
or 2 O's, WOOTDER.
Water.
It should be wired, right?
In Jersey, it's water. It's WERTER. Water.
Water, yeah. Water.
We drink water here.
I think
water.
In UK they call it a pint, mate.
A pint. Well, the thing is, their pint is actually a real pint. The pint in the United States is actually only about
14 ounces.
14 ounces.
A pint is 16 ounces, but a pint, you get a shaker pint of beer in the United States, you're getting 14 ounces of beer. You're not getting 16.
And it's about 12 ounces of beer, 2 ounces of foam.
Yeah.
No.
And that that 2 ounces of foam will translate into 1 ounce of
actual beer.
So you wind up with 13 ounces of.
So David and John, I want to return the favor of the thank you. It's an honor to be on your show. I think the audience is as passionate as you and I are about taste and discoveries and exploring new frontiers and experiences. So thank you really for trusting that it would be interesting, and again, thank you for your passion, because I've seen like the numbers of shows you guys have done, and it's impressive. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that comment, and I appreciate that sentiment. It was awesome. And right back at you, as Dave just said, thank you so much for coming on. And Chuck Aaron just commented, owner of Jersey Girl Brewing up in Hackettstown, New Jersey. He said, "What a sweet show tonight."
Very, very, very funny.
Sounds cheesy, but it isn't.
Chuck's another brewery owner out there, and
oh yeah.
And Brian Broke just said, "Great show," he said. So there you go.
Yeah, this was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. All your knowledge, all your intellect, all your knowledge, just not on chocolate, but the way it would pair with the beers, and the conversations we've had leading up to this to put this together with the correct chocolates and the correct beers and everything else.
Keep that in mind. Like everybody on the show here, like when you share something like this, the only thing people miss are putting names on their experience. Yes. They actually realize something happens, but if you tell them what happens, then they actually crystallize it and go like, wow, that was great. But otherwise they just go like, that was good. And you lack of words. So when you can share and guide what is happening, then you probably share something more. And I think that's the trick. Like everybody is equipped to taste. It's just having the right vocabulary of what the experience is that actually guides people. And then when they can put words on it, they want more of it. So that's how you share the love.
Yes,
so,
there is a language to tasting.
Yeah.
And it's being able, like you said, to take what you're experiencing, put it into words. Not everyone can do that. You need to be trained to do that. And not even trained. Trained sounds too formal. It can be very informal.
I think you need to be comfortable. Like some people just like whatever you taste a 6 years old classroom pissoir, and that's what comes to mind. Just say it. Like it's okay. Like, nobody is gonna judge you for that. That's probably if it's what it refers to you and that's the name you put on it, then it's fine. Like that's what sharing experience is about. So it's all about the emotion we have with taste, and it's probably I think it's one of the deepest memory that we have compared to emotions. It's like attaching moment to flavors, and so if you don't put words on it, you lose it.
Well, John did it earlier with the icebox cake.
Yeah,
right. That's a memory. Right. If and when he said that, one thing came to me was something that's actually mass produced, probably mostly chemicals, but it's something that my mother would service all the time, and it was this chocolate cake. I don't remember the name of it, who made it, but to this day, if I find it, I will grab that because it reminds me, because there is that memory. Yeah, there's that memory.
The memory is nostalgic. Of course, you're going to get it. You know, you had it. I mean, it doesn't matter how good or bad it was. You're going to get it because it's nostalgic. It's a memory.
So Benoit, from home, what do you miss the most that you can't get here?
Oh, not a lot.
Really?
Yeah. I'll be honest, some of the friends. I'll
talk about food, but okay.
Yeah. But honestly, I was ready for a lot worse compared to where I landed. So, you know, we got, you know, fresh asparagus at the supermarket.
Spargel,
and you know, I mean, a lot of actually, not much, to be brutally honest. And I would say the same thing if it was an interview on some Belgian radio. I said it before, like, there is this cliche, but the reality is there is a lot of people that lives in the United States, and you know, there is not much that it's called New England for a reason where I am. Right? It's kind of, you know, and honestly, there is not much. Like, I mean, can you believe I went down the street and I got all those beers that I thought I was going to miss? And then in terms of access to culture and food and experiences and discussions with friends who've been traveling and how much they know about wherever they've been. Right. No, I honestly, it's always great to go back and see our friends, but there is not much that I feel like, you know, I'm you know, shielded from stuff that I really wanted and I don't have anymore. Like, not really. Even in terms of product experience, books, shows, like, I think the world shrunk a bit. So you can listen. The store is playing Belgian radio. So sometimes my parents are telling me news about the elections and whatever happened in Belgium, and you know, I'm maybe more up to date than they are. So no, we're you know, no, I really like. I was ready for a lot worse, and it's been way better. And I say that on the long term, like over the last 15 years. So
really happy to hear that.
That's great to hear that too. I got a couple of comments as far as well. On that note, Chuck Aaron just commented and he said, "Experience builds confidence." 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. And Brian Boak, going back to Dave, what you were talking about, he said, "Entenmann's."
So Entenmann's, but
Entenmann's.
It's not everyone. Not everybody remembers how to spell Entenmann's, but
Entenmann's.
Yeah, it wasn't the Entenmann's. It was a frozen thing. It may have been the Sara Lee cake, but
well, on that, I was thinking it was a Sara Lee cake, but Entenmann's.
But for his experience, it's probably an Entenmann's thing.
Yeah,
maybe with his mother.
If you ever heard the comedian, and really quick, and we'll wrap up the show, but and if you ever heard the comedian Sebastian Maniscalco. If you've
don't know him, no.
Experienced that, he does a bit where, you know, back in the day, if you had company show up at 9:00 on a Sunday night, everybody was excited. Hey, it's company! Come on in! Yay! We're all hanging out. Blah 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 blah. I'll get back to that. I'll refer back to that in a second. But he says today the doorbell rings at 9:00 on a Sunday night. Shh, quiet. All right, turn the TV off. Be quiet. We're not home. Right. So, and that's really the way it is, and it sucks, right? But back in the day, when company came up, when the doorbell rang at 9:00 at night, come on, and he goes, you know, we'll put on the Sanka. Here's some Entenmann's. We'll get it out. Right.
Yep.
So,
I just found it. It was Sara Lee. It was the Sara Lee chocolate cream pie.
Sara Lee chocolate cream pie, the frozen one.
Yeah. Oh my God, I loved that thing.
It was good. Well, it wasn't good at all, but it was good.
Well, chemical, but right. It's a memory of my mother.
Loaded with memories.
But exactly. All right. Again, Benoit, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
We deeply appreciate you coming on the show. It was fantastic. And we will get up there. Stay around. We're going to talk to you for a couple minutes. Don't sign off. We're going to talk to you a couple minutes after we end the show.
Do this outro thing. This is
it's
pedantic, but it's important.
But on that note, we'll wrap up the show for today. We want to thank everybody for watching, and for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LAGERRO.
How many W's?
Just 3.
Okay.
And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with video podcasts on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Twitch every Tuesday night around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And for those of you just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on our audio host, Spreaker, as well as iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I can't even talk tonight. Odyssey, Audible, Google Podcast, Amazon Music Podcast, TuneIn Podcast Addict, Castbox, Deezer, Podchaser, Listen Notes. Pretty much anywhere you can find an audio podcast, you'll find the Lager Room Guys Craft Beer Podcast. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Benoit, once again, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you so much. Everything was fantastic. Your chocolates are amazing.
Oh my God.
Anybody that's listening, get up to Fairfield, Connecticut. Get there. Or if you can't get up there, order.
Order online.
BE
Chocolat.com. We're gonna post the Lager Room Guys.
It's already posted. It's already posted on Facebook.
Well, we're gonna post just that link for that thing on the Facebook page. But order it. Order all the rest of his chocolates. Make sure you
order everything he makes. Make whoever it is who packages this stuff up work.
Busy. Yeah, exactly.
Make them earn their money.
But order it. Seriously, order it. If you're going to order for Valentine's Day, don't wait till the 10th or 11th. Order it now. Order it tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, please. That will help us.
Give them a break.
Get it in. But in any event, thank you so much for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Wonderful weekend. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly. And we will talk to you next week, folks. Great show next week. Make sure you tune in. We'll talk to you then, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Quack, quack.